Play it again. Play it
Here we go.
again.
You know what? Remember the Chemical Brothers? That opening. Remember that band? They go, "Tell me, is it time to get down on your motherfucking knees? Tell me, is it time to get down?" I said, "Hallelujah." Remember that was a big. It was almost in the vein it came in the early 2000s. That was really good. That was like a super soldier Steve Rogers kind of opening with today's technology. That was really good, Sarah.
It just goes with the
Almost,
theme.
almost,
Probably
almost
won't
as
happen next week.
almost as pretentious as Monty Python, though.
Sing your song.
No, I'll do it later. I'll do it.
Okay.
We'll want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Welcome, Melvin. I got a little surprise for you. A Smith, I just excavated from Instagram. Lauren Marie, welcome. Lauren says, "Yeah, happy to the show today." Give me
You cut
that,
out
Lauren.
already. Okay, you cut out for a second.
I said, I love, yay. Lauren Marie says, "Yay, happy there's a new show today. Give me something to listen to in my 2 hour drive." I love to hear that, Lauren. Nothing makes us feel better than staving off the tedium of a 2 hour drive from Saratoga Springs, I would imagine. A Smith is garlic Texas toast. I want to apologize to everybody in advance if I don't necessarily get to every single comment. There's a lot, like pretentious radio people go, "We got a lot to do today, so I'm not going to get," and they try to like they do the reductive thing to the audience that they don't have time to take phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
We got a
You,
lot to do today.
you're not exaggerating. I don't think I've seen a list this long for a show.
It's fun though. I had fun going over. I mean, I spent just insane time going screen recording stuff and getting eclectic links and videos, and so we should have fun with it. I think you'll enjoy. There's tons of stuff. Scott Balo, welcome. Gina Bobina, welcome. The chat will be Bobina sized, as it's always a pleasure to see you. Glad you could make it. D, I love you as well. I'm still trying to figure out who you are. D moves in
Mm.
mysterious ways. By the way, we got a great, yeah. You had a great So Depp singing now is it's a it's Bono meets Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
So we analyzing his Jeff Beck performance and the singing inflection and style he goes for, and it's basically he doesn't know what to do when he can't Brit himself. So he kind of, when he's settled on a singing style, especially for Sweeney Todd, it's somewhere between David Bowie and, I said Bowie, Sam Bowie, and and Bono, and Steve Bono and Sam Bowie.
Mm-hmm. It's a very good
Montreal
comparison.
one, welcome. Rooster Sideburbs, welcome. Sarah, how are you? We want to give everybody an update on your loaded potato salad.
It's gone. I ate it all.
Oh my God! How much of it did you make?
Um. Oh my God. How much would I think that maybe 10 cups worth? I don't know. Half a gallon? I didn't eat it all.
Yeah, you gotta say, if you're gonna put a production like that, save it. Make more than you need and save it for weeks and weeks. It does not make any sense to do the little portions and I'm just gonna have enough for me. Meh, 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 me. Just make enough so you could, if company comes over, never make just what you need. Never
Mhm.
that. Whether it's
Yep.
ice or loaded potato salad.
Mhm.
Montreal one, Rooster Sideburns, Crazy Robin, welcome. As she says here, our newbie and Holly Crazy Robinson Pete on deck.
Hmm.
Always great. Thank you, everyone. Mackie 504. Johnny can play. He can play guitar, but is it as well as he thinks it is? And is it worth blowing off the result of that trial for? I believe
I'm
no, it's not.
still let the man do what he wants
Well,
right now.
that's kind of the issue, that he does what he wants all the time, every time.
That's okay.
Not this time. You
Has he not
stick.
earned that just in the last 6 years?
No, you paying for this trial, and
Yeah.
all these great people that stick with you want to see. We got robbed of his joy at the result in the trial. There's so many layers to that, but we'll get to that. Lauren Marie, that was a band, Low Fidelity All Stars. Saw them in concert in Syracuse. And did I get the name wrong, Lauren Marie? I thought it was the Chemical Brothers that did that song. I said hallelujah. I said, tell me, is it time to get down on your motherfucking knees? I mean, that's the only song I know from them because they played it on Howard, I think. Um, in some when they used to do live shows somewhere else, but I don't know. I could be. They used to they'd actually play it on K Rock a little bit too. They didn't know whether it was like techno or alternative rock. Very much in the vein of Nine Inch Nails and shit. Okay, so let's just jump right into this. I have a lot of videos to play, which I hope you'll enjoy. Sarah, you want to start with the Mr. Feeny stuff, or you want to do something? You have any preferences?
You're running the show, whatever's easiest to pull up.
Well, you know what I have. I mean,
I have a
do you
general
have
idea what
do
you
you have
have.
any fetishes?
Yes.
I
Um,
have the burrito. I have the OJ, the Ron. I'm sorry, the Fred Goldman lawyer talking about what Depp has to do to collect the $8 million and what Goldman with OJ and stuff. So this
yeah,
he went
let's
through this with OJ. I mean, that's jumping the line a little bit.
let's
Let's
do
do
that.
something. Let's do something fun to start off. Just for is Tiger Lily here yet?
No, I haven't seen her.
Welcome, Pell, sir. Always love to have you. Um, let's
Uh,
do.
Somebody asked what my avatar was. It's drunk Amber Heard on wine.
That's right. That's right. And I want to thank JJ Thrash, whoever you are, if you're someone in that who made me that great. He fused Momoa's fully formed Aquaman with my article from Vice from 2007. So he
Mm-hmm.
took my face and he superimposed it on Momoa's body in Aquaman, and it's just so well done, so well done. I had an idea for a show, Sarah, just before I forget and make sure I just want to document it so I can say it in audio. We're gonna do eventually a show where Depp as a superhero. What superheroes did Depp turn down, and what should he play? And over the years, all the Marvel and DC stuff that he's not done and he should have done. And so I want to superimpose Depp's face on all the different characters that I
Okay.
know that he was supposed to play at some point. And I think
Mm-hmm.
we take you'll really be blown away how perfect he is for something like Doctor Strange and Tony Stark and Nightwing, Dick Grayson when he was in his late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
this is Bruce Banner at one point. That was a Ghost Rider. It was just on and on. Wolverine. I mean, it's so much. So
All
that'll be
right.
a fun show for everybody. You don't have to be a comic book fan to appreciate it because there's
Scott
all
Balo,
sorts of stuff. Go ahead.
just in case you can't get to it, I'm sorry. He says, Sarah, did you guys see the clip of AH giving JD the finger? No, not yet, but I'm not surprised. She's gross.
No, no, I got to bet it. Let's start with our Melvin homage.
Okay,
So
yes.
Melvin, I was on Instagram and someone has a message for you. First let's start with um this because I think this is from Friday.
Speaking of fetishes.
Camille. Wait, we gotta get time. Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Camille.
So, let me say, I have to make a confession. As much as I don't like those alpacas being around screaming people, that probably stresses them out.
It's an adorable shot.
It is
They
so
do they
cute.
do it well. They do it well. And the
Yeah.
kind Ben Chu directing the whole thing, and it's such a great shot. And I'm tired of the alpacas and the mega pint jokes,
Yeah.
but that one really works.
They are adorable with their little pirate hats. My God.
So this is something I excavated from Instagram, and this is Camille on vacation sends a message to Melvin and only Melvin.
Oh, okay. I'm not
This is
supposed to look
crazy.
at
This is
this,
this
am
is a
I?
Camille. This is a Camille that's gonna get us all a little Nick chubbed, if you know what I mean.
Oh, God.
For claiming that Heard was unable to actually abuse Depp due to his physical and financial strength compared to her. Singer Aubrey O'Day
You're
labeled
funny.
Fox's claim as absolute garbage.
Okay, let me
Ignore
do
the.
this again. So I
Yeah.
recorded a bunch of news stories in Mr. Feeny voice, and somehow, while I was screen recording it, some of it leaked onto that. It's just so
Right.
stupid. It's actually
Just.
the video is silent. It never had audio. So this is from Instagram. It never had audio. So don't believe you're missing anything because there was never audio to it. So let's just do it muted.
Okay.
This is to Melvin. Are you kidding me, Melvin? Look at him. Fire, says Melvin. Fire! I did it in a loop for you. So this is going to be your new, hopefully, your avatar on Gunk. Or is that, what's it called? Is it an avatar or is it a
Avatar.
Yeah, right. I'll just let this roll for a few seconds. I kind of recorded it 6 times for Melva. She has a vodka tonic, I believe. Could be a margarita. I don't want to get stereotypical, but okay, that's good enough. So that's for you, Melvin, and hopefully you can use that in your avatar. Balo, that little tramp. No, we don't call. Come on. We know Camille's not. Camille has a boyfriend too. I don't know what I should do with that. What do you think, Sarah? I tried to alter it.
First of all, you did a very good job. And I'm still kind of chuckling under my breath at you catching yourself reading something else while you were screen recording this. But yeah, I will accept nothing less than him using this as his avatar.
This is Camille. This is at the Ritz Carlton, John O'Reilly. If you're in there, is where they all stayed. I'm trying to avoid. That's the Jeff Fisher bodyguard with a Radio Gunk T-shirt.
So the appeal, Amber wants to appeal.
Leave her alone.
She knows kind of how. She's got to know by now. Like everybody's looking for her, and to get out of there, she's like it's really amazing. The making of a superstar. That's her boyfriend right there. His name is Ed Owen. He's a real estate dude. Okay, let's get rid of that.
You want me to
so
read,
yeah, that's just.
Since we're on that topic, do you want me to read that article?
Yeah. Okay. So that's a. So we found over the weekend, and I've been wondering about this. I've been involved in this case for a long time. It's so fucking pretentious. Because I'm obsessed with the movie City of Lies, which is about Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac and their murders and stuff. And it's a I think it's the best Depp movie in 10 years. And he plays Russell Poole, the investigator and who actually passed away a few years ago. Very sad. I don't know, just out of nowhere. Life is short. Slurp it up, folks. I don't know how he passed. It should not have died, this guy. It's a very, very weird death. So I'm curious so Depp had an assault charge on this set, which he nobly, and I would do the same. I'd be worse, I think. Punched a dude named Greg. There's more Rockies in Depp's life than a John Denver Greatest Hits album. Another Rocky. Greg Rocky Brooks. The ironic part of you're punching a Rocky. And
the weird thing is every Rocky in his life is a scumbag.
That's right. So this guy turned this into an assault lawsuit. Depp was defending the honor of an apparent homeless woman on the set in the Skid Row section of LA during the shooting of City of Lies. And apparently got into a tiff. The guy was berating the woman. And as you know, Depp is, I believe every word of this, that Depp stood up for her honor and had a physical, punched him in the face or the chest or the stomach. We'll get the truth. I can't quite pin down the body part he connected with. So this guy claims. So then he poses with Depp after they have a mea culpa and that's shown. And the two of them seemingly make it up. Then a lawsuit is issued to Depp after the fact, and Sarah will take it from here as to where it's at now, because it's a little friend of ours is also representing him in this.
All right, this is from Radar, and I can't share because I don't have the StreamYard account set up to do that as a guest. So the title of the article is Back in Action. Johnny Depp and powerhouse attorney Camille Vasquez gear up for next legal battle against film worker. Okay, Johnny Depp will have his right-hand woman, lucky girl, by his side when he takes on film worker Greg Rocky Brooks in court, Radar has learned. The City of Lies actor, 58. I don't know, why do they have to put age in every article?
Sarah, hold on one second. Pause yourself right there. Look at Melvin's line of the night. If Amber Heard was there, it should be... Oh, it's okay. That's okay. I'll read it. If Amber Heard was there, it should be called The Shits Carlton.
Yeah.
Very nice, Melvin. All right. Sorry, Sarah. Go ahead.
That's all right. City of Lies actor, 58, chose to again recruit powerhouse attorney Camille Vasquez, who certainly played a key role in his $15 million defamation trial victory against ex-wife Amber Heard, and all these fucking ads on Radar.
It's okay.
Roll through them. Depp will be represented by Randall A. Smith, who is a partner in Brown Rudnick's litigation and arbitration practice group, where Vasquez serves as an associate. As for the details of their upcoming legal battle, Brooks filed a lawsuit against Depp in July 2018, claiming the star punched him on the set of the crime film City of Lies. In court docs, Brooks, who was working as a location manager, accused Depp of inflicting emotional distress upon him, claiming their dispute started because he informed the actor they were shooting past the time of their permit. Depp squashed those claims in his response, saying he acted in self-defense and Brooks had provoked the alleged dispute. The Black Mass star also claimed they had squashed their beef long before court. Quote, I had my assistant bring a bottle of wine and we toasted
That's
in, I think,
very
paper
true.
cups.
Very true.
And no harm, no foul. I apologized. He apologized. Gave him a hug. We embraced. I hugged him. And everything was cool. As a matter of fact, he asked for a selfie with me. And so I took a selfie with him, Depp said during a deposition. Depp is gearing up to face off with Brooks in court after defeating 36 in his long-awaited defamation trial. And they just go on about what he was just awarded in the defamation. See if there's anything else here.
Is there a
Okay.
script supervisor that's quoted in
Yeah,
there?
they from her deposition. She basically says that it didn't happen. You're cutting out. Are you muted?
Did you hear I say Brad Furman, or did I hit mute?
I didn't hear it. I don't know if the chat heard it.
Shit, no, I think I did mute self. God damn it. I said the director, Brad Furman, confirms that as well, as does most of. I mean, this guy is a total pain in the ass, and good on Depp. I mean, I would have been worse pummeling this guy. So he's lucky he didn't get, but I mean, this guy sounds like a total pain in the ass. I can't imagine how this could any rule in his favor if he has, his from the script supervisor to the director backing him up. I don't know anybody who has Mr. Brooks is back. Mr. Brooks is back. Depp called him Mr. Brooks.
Yeah.
He actually got brought up there in the trial once.
David C., thank you, by the way, for the $10. We appreciate it.
Yes, David C. Thank you, sir. Arm, how much money did Johnny's lawyers make in total? What I hear, Mackie, is somewhere between. It's the same numbers over and over again with these. So that we feel like this is why the money came to what it did. It had something to do with his divorce. So it's always 7 million to 10 million. This is the numbers.
Yeah.
Everything comes to this all the time. These numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard as high as 10, as low as 7. And a lot of times, I mean, what he got in the trial was almost to like wipe it all out. So we feel like that is, and her $2 million, I surmised. Now, I forever was trying to figure out what she made on Aquaman. So the first fee I heard was $1 million. This is speaking really more so Aquaman 2. Then I heard $5 million. That was bullshit. Then I heard $3 million. Then the trial, I believe, confirmed it was actually $2 million. So why do you think she was awarded that $2 million with all that weirdness, with that Adam Waldman fucking ambiguous penthouse fucking 5 weirdness? What do you think they got that number from? Because that should have been her fee in Aquaman 2, or was.
Yeah.
So somehow the jury's decided, okay, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a compromise verdict, in my opinion. I think they had a weird person on the jury that was like, well, I don't want to say she's lying. Well, she was. But I think that's just what they agreed to. That was the less serious claim from her countersuit, was number 2.
Yes. And also, I mean, there was a term some lawyer used. Maybe John O'Reilly can hit me to it about. It's basically if in a football game, if you were up 42-0, and you're in the fourth quarter and you're just kind of dicking around, and you're like, I don't want to look like a heel. Let me put in my third string and let them score a touchdown. So you don't want to look too ridiculous, so you let the other team score. So it's almost like the jury awarded Amber Heard like a meaningless touchdown with 3 minutes
Yeah, it's
left.
the gentleman's sweep.
To make it 4. That's something like that. Right. I'm not sure if that was the law term. That
is the law term.
It is?
No.
It sounds good. I bought it. You sold it and I bought it. Depp is another court date. Yeah. How great would it be if that was televised? You think it'll be they could clear. Let me see. It's a no, is it a civil suit?
I
I think it is.
think so. Yeah. Yeah, it has to be. It's not criminal,
Okay.
but I think it's around the
Um,
22nd of July. That won't be televised. That'll be over in a day.
I am going to play next. Okay, Crazy Robin says my theory is both Biggie and Tupac were targeted at the time. Captain Bernard Parks covered up Biggie's death, and the LAPD cops took out Tupac in Vegas. That's a good theory, Crazy Robin.
Hmm.
This Crazy Robin, have you seen City of Lies? Because I can totally give it to you if you want. I would love for your opinion on that movie. I love to do a show on it. In fact, that's an
Hmm.
interesting theory. I have a theory that Depp based his character on not only Russell Poole, which is very, very little footage of him. I believe it's also based on Sean Bett, his now head of security,
Okay,
who
that's a good
worked the
theory.
entire same beat that Russell Poole did. LAPD for years, gang division, I think riot division, SWAT, the whole thing. So
Hmm.
you got it, Crazy Robin. I will totally give you that because I have the real deal version,
Okay.
thanks to our friend Boff. Which I had it already. I had an Italian version, and it screwed up. You need the subtitles. You need the kind of earmarks and subtitles because it helps the year because it jumps around in timeline. And Christopher Wallace's mom, Violetta Wallace, Big's mom, is in at the end with a sweet scene with Depp where they do kind of a Golden Girls clasp. So let's see. I'm going to play next. Let's go with. Let's do some stuff I painstakingly recorded as Mr. Feeny. So this is a story that came out, and I've been talking about this guy. It's fascinating, like the fixer in Ray Donovan that Liev Schreiber plays. A gentleman named Paul Baressi, who's just a longtime former porn actor, Hollywood fixer. And bear with me, we're going to go over this and stop it and comment on it. And he basically got interviewed at the end of the trial with the result, and he became like a huge fan of that. Amber Heard initially hired him. He came up with nothing that she didn't, he couldn't defame her the way she wanted to, so she fired him, summarily fired him, and
Hmm.
then he decided, God, this Depp is fascinating. Let me go look back into his life, and he went looking for stuff and found tons and tons of grifters, and it's a piece that let me see, is it 5 minutes? Was it wait.
I think
Barisi.
the video you uploaded was like 10 minutes.
Wasn't it 10 minutes? Okay, here it is. Here
Hmm.
it is, everyone. Here we go. So I uploaded it yesterday just to have it, and I downloaded it. So here we go, and I'll try to play it. Tell me if it's too loud, Sarah.
Okay.
From the
No, it's fine.
dailymail.com,
Okay,
and
good.
Chris Matthews. Private investigator Paul Baressi says Amber Heard hired to dig up dirt on Johnny Depp, claims she took advantage of him to further her career. And the actor is responsible for his own downfall because he let his friends leech off him. Amber Heard took advantage of Johnny Depp because she wanted to boost her fledgling acting career, the actress's former private investigator said. Hollywood fixer Paul Baressi, 74, was at the front line of the couple's saga and was hired by Heard, 36, to dig up dirt on Johnny Depp, 58, before his UK defamation case. Johnny Depp won his U.S. defamation case against his ex-wife Amber Heard on Wednesday and was awarded $15 million. During a 3-month investigation, Baressi interviewed 100 people across the U.S. and Europe who worked with Depp on films dating back 30 years. Yet, when Baressi couldn't find any dirt, he was fired by Heard. However, the PI from Rancho Cucamonga, California, who was once hired to investigate unproven claims that Tom Cruise had a gay affair, had ignited a fascination in himself and continued to investigate Depp.
Sarah, you're obsessed with Tom Cruise and his homosexuality and his alleged homosexuality in Scientology. Where are you at with that now?
Nothing has changed.
No, Travolta's not full hetero? No?
Of course, look at him. He's all man.
Right. So you think there's a Scientology tie-in to kind of like repressed homosexuality?
Yeah, it goes back to the days of when L. Ron Hubbard was running it. It was, of course, a sin, according to him, to
Oh, okay. I didn't know
be
that.
gay,
I didn't.
and it's not encouraged. So that's also something they use when you put the cans in your hand, when you're on the e-meter. That's when you spill your secrets. they have questions that make you spill your secrets, and they are secretly recording you, as they recorded John Travolta as he was having his e-meter test. So the theory is they have a lot of dirt on him, and that's why he will never leave Scientology.
What about the miscavs? We need an updated Scientology list because there's names on there that I think people don't even realize. Well, I think Will Smith is certainly right. Her and Jada. And you saw during the Oscars, you saw this weird after the slap. You saw this weird hug with Travolta on
Hmm.
stage, which was really bizarre.
Yeah, it's very their story is, yeah, they looked into it. They appreciate some of the ideas and ideals of Scientology, but they never joined. Yes, they have.
Melvin says, Arm, did you see the current state of William Daniels, Mr. Feeney? We need to get him on the show ASAP. He's slipping away. I know that he's in his 90s, which he's older than I thought. So he would, like, when he was on Boy Meets World, he would almost be like retirement age, but you didn't really care. He's so brilliant on that show. You know, it's like a kid show that's kind of a thinking man's kid show, if that's possible for all you
Hmm.
pedos. And I remember watching it with my nephew when I was babysitting for him on TGIF. And I remember watching it, and he did this monologue to the class, and I thought it was like the most brilliant acting I've ever seen in a multicam sitcom. He
Hmm.
just was like, I can't remember. He goes, King of what, Mr. Matthews? Of a generation whose scores are lower than the last 40 years while you play Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo? And then some monologue about Gutenberg and the printing press. And I thought, wow, that was great. But it was so good. I'm like, man, he just like shines on this show. They'd never give him like an Emmy because it's a show that wouldn't be recognized. You know, it's like just they never
Of course.
recognize big performances in I guess small shows.
Hmm.
It's considered a kid show, but I thought he really is one of these Juilliard Brooklyn accents, and he's great and everything. Very likable guy with this really kind of avuncular kind of. He was in a ton of stuff. I think he was in Saint Elsewhere, and
Yeah.
obviously he played Kit on Knight Rider.
Hmm.
But I think he's in his 90s. I hope he lives another 90 years.
I
Here's Feeny.
wouldn't bet on it.
From some of Depp's closest friends, he learned the A-lister was surrounded by so-called pals who leached off him financially and emotionally. Barisi told Daily Mail Online, when Amber hired me, she wanted proof that Johnny was a serial abuser for women. And I couldn't find that. I couldn't find another woman who said Johnny abused them. Barisi said he interviewed more than a dozen people whose rent, medical bills, house payments, car payments, and even bail, even legal fees were paid by Johnny.
Okay, just to decide to that, I have a follow up to that. I want to read for everybody. I hope you're into this as much as I'm obviously, I'm a Depp nerd, but this is just all the trial never covered this to any, I felt with any kind of blanket coverage. I didn't think it was detailed enough. So I went again and I read. This is like I did this at the last second. I just needed to do it because if the documents disappear, I'll never. So I read all the stuff he has with friends and family members who he's lent money with. That there was this whole thing with his managers, and his managers basically against him said that Depp had given these people all this money. It was a loan or it wasn't a loan, and it's like Sal J. It's like best friends and family members, and I read kind of each one, and that's what he's talking about here. David says L. Ron Hubbard's son committed suicide because he was probably gay and
Hmm.
had the misfortune of being born to the wrong dad. Is that true, Sarah? I believe
I know
David
his son died.
implicitly.
I didn't
That is
look
horrible.
into it any deeper than that.
That is a horrible story, David, and I
Hmm.
believe every word you say. I got to look. I know it. I watched some Scientology. Was it Going Clear? My cousin told me to watch that. It
Yeah,
was
it's a
really
great
good, and I think I
documentary.
need to watch. If what's her name
I've
from
watched it
Queen of
multiple
Queens?
times. If you want to watch it again, I can send it to you. I have it.
You know they went after the Scientology church went after Depp in the 80s,
Oh,
like
I'm
in a
sure.
time they always go after you when you're at your lowest,
Juliet
and they
Lewis was
say,
in Scientology.
yeah, right. He dated Juliet
Hmm.
Lewis very, very, very briefly. It doesn't come up a lot in between Winona and Kate Moss during
Hmm.
Gilbert Grape. Thank you, David. I will totally check. That's a horrible story if that's true, and I believe it's true.
He
He
said
was a
Johnny was
horrible father.
besieged by people who
He was an
ingratiated
abusive
themselves.
father. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
That's okay. That's
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
fine.
Abusive father and abusive husband. That's L. Ron Hubbard.
I want to give a shout out to Monique from our sister, or show Radio Gunk, who I now know what it's like. And Sarah, you do this, the multitasking of all this to control the comments and the audio. So I made a lot of MP4s, so it was easy for me. You don't realize what she goes through multitasking. Then you got to
Mhm.
comment on it at the same time. It's not an easy. I have a new respect for her. Not that I didn't already, but you get to see her. And you as well. I mean, you did this every time, and I could see you coming. It's a lot to juggle, and then you got to stop when they want you to stop, and so
Well, also add, and I'm glad we don't do this much anymore, but add in like the 4 hours of editing on my day off every
yeah,
every
yeah, yeah.
morning on my
I'm
day off to
trying
get
to
that
make
out
it
by
easier.
Sunday.
I'm trying to make it easier by just turning everything into MP4s.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
No, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Sink or swim.
Into his domain.
Sink.
And once they were there, they'd scratch his back with one hand while the other took in the feed. All of the people around him have been on the take for so many years, they feel comfortable with taking things from him. He's a very passive guy. He added, even Amber, in some respects, was an opportunist on par with everyone else. She obviously knew the power in Hollywood, and she seized upon that power in the hopes of furthering her career. But at the end of the day in Hollywood, it's who you know and who's pulling for you. Because for every part in a movie, there are 2,000 people equally competent to handle that role.
Now you see that points to what I said about Amber Heard all along. We've been doing this.
Mhm.
She is so replaceable. Barisi, it's like he's listening to us. There's 2,000 actresses that can do that role of Mira better or as good as she can. And they know it. Warner Brothers knows it. DC knows it. And that's why she's seemingly, I don't want to jump the gun on this. There's a story going around. She's officially cut it. We've been saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I hear it come from James Wan. And I'll believe it when I hear it come from the Aquaman
I'm
people.
same
We've
here.
been, we've been, it's like wishful thinking. She's been reduced. We know that. And probably the best move is to not cut her out, is probably to kill her in the beginning of the movie or have some reincarnation later on in Aquaman 3 with the mirror character. And that'll
Well,
just,
we're going to get into a story later where it shows you that Hollywood is way, even with her, they're still woke to a fault
yeah.
and they refuse to accept truth. So I'm not surprised if he's still on that train, James Wan.
Well, the power of Depp, and his charisma, and this is a super left-wing liberal guy, Depp. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am, like, he's not a good fight. If you want to make him the poster child of the anti-woke movement, he's not. He doesn't need your help. This is about truth. It's not about woke. It's about a liar. And women, and I know some super left-wing tree-hugging women who don't want her representing them on any level, and that's
Yeah.
most of them. I have news for you,
Mm-hmm.
especially Crazy Robin.
I can't get over, before you start that again, I can't get over, don't want to talk about her, as little as possible anyway, but she goes to that domestic violence conference
Yeah.
and she hugs a male victim of domestic violence. While he's sobbing in her arms, she's comforting him. That's when
Could you
you want
do you have any
somebody,
testosterone left when that happens to you, and you're capitulating to that shit?
yeah, I don't know. It's
Yes,
sickening.
Pellel. Leah Remini is a fascinating listen as she details the current state of science. I absolutely agree.
It's a
I try
great
to listen
show.
to it.
She has 3 seasons of that show, but by the third season, she's just repeating things. I've
Theatins
watched
must that's Theatins, I say it, Sarah?
Thetans.
Crazy Thetans, that's okay.
Thetans,
Must
yep.
stick together, okay. He's on Cameo. Let him do a shout out or a reading. Yes, Melvin. Everybody should give Mr. Feeny whatever he wants on Cameo. It's just an William Daniels, just an absolute brilliant. I think he was the head of the Screen Actors Guild for a long time, right? Until Melissa Gilbert
I don't
took
know.
over. Mr. Feeny had beef with. Did he really, Gina? Is that? Did William? Are you kidding or that? I would love to if you can dig something up on that. William Daniels did. Wow. I hope you're right. I hope that's true. William Daniels played Dustin Hoffman's dad in The Graduate. Good call, David. I got to watch The Graduate again. Mr. Feeny is Kit and Knight Rider. I had a tense scene with my car, Kit, and David Hasselhoff. Mr. Feeny had terrible closeted infatuation with Topanga.
I don't know if he went that way.
Did, well, do you know Topanga on the? Isn't
I
Topanga
know
a drug?
she's the girl with the big head.
Is that a marijuana brand or a city or
Oh, I don't
something?
know. Topanga
California's.
Canyon, I
Yeah,
think,
I remember seeing that somewhere. And is where that name came from.
probably.
I think he's been married for like 65 years or something.
Mm.
Michael, did you sign in with Amber Heard petition before your mission? That's a Knight Rider. Loose us all. Welcome, sir. He goes, Michael, did you sign your Amber Heard petition before your mission? The new Knight Rider. Before Xena will hear you and strike down this podcast. Oh God, don't tell me she likes Amber Heard. Come on, I thought of a good name for the podcast about pets. Petophiles. That's good, Balo. Who didn't, Melvin? Oh, thanks. Cereal abuser. Did he pooch? I love that. Apple Jacks is one of my favorite sugar cereals. If I had to go back to eating cereal, Apple Jacks is in my top three.
Yeah, it's
Fruity
delicious.
Pebbles
Even
and
dry.
apple. Yes, great cereal. Nothing like it. Scientology, Apple Jacks. I guarantee it comes to a cereal discussion. Guaranteed for the rest of the chat. Peach pills. That's a Jim Norton. Scientology is way litigious. Yes, Crazy Robin. They're always, Sarah. Aren't they always threatening everybody with every mention and every
Yeah,
like
but
anytime?
the
Oh, it's
problem
so
is they have
scary.
the money to sue you. So
Right.
the threat is a promise.
God damn it. It's a great wormhole to go down. Oh, I got a wormhole for you to go down, Bobina. She's
You.
absolutely right. If you go down to the Scientology stuff, is a never-ending pool of it's crazy. It's crazy. It's one of the craziest shit in our entire society, I think. If you
Hmm.
really want to watch Going Clear is good. Leah Remini's series is better. John Sweeney, classic. Okay, let's finish this.
Baressi saw the inner workings of Johnny Depp's lifestyle and was shocked to find the multimillionaire actor was the king in the realm of entertainment, but also easy game for people with predatory behavior. Before his success in Pirates of the Caribbean, Depp had a troubled upbringing. He was a high school dropout with an abusive and suicidal
He
mother
needed Mr. Feeny in
who
his
moved
life.
in from a small town in Kentucky to Hollywood.
I won't interrupt again. Where was the Mr. Feeny for a young Johnny Depp in Miramar, Florida? Right? That's what he needed. That's exactly what's missing from his life. That perfect teacher. Just giving him the English. I'm sure Feeny would love Hunter S. Introduce him to all the classics. I'm sure he'd
Well,
love Thompson. That's what's missing from his life.
my AP English teacher in high school was a mirror of Feeny. Just even I never watched the
Yeah,
show,
I
but
would
I
love to
know
see you grappling with a Feeny in a classroom, going back battle of wits, and he catches you writing. You know,
he
God,
told me to sit
Eddie.
down during a book report. I'm still scarred by that. But yeah, and that would have made me drop out if I'm Depp. So I don't think that would have worked.
Oh, I don't. See. I think Feeney gets you right up to the line, but you respect him. I think his biggest nightmare is kids dropping out. I think he pulls you back in. He wants the best. He respects kids. He wants the best out of them. He doesn't he doesn't accept kind of cerebral laziness.
Yeah.
Crazy Robin, Aquaman's brother Orm, aka Ocean Master, will kill her off. That's a great theory, Crazy Rob. It's going to be Black Manta or Orm. You're absolutely right.
He suffered childhood abuse at the hands of a volatile and violent mother. During his defamation trial against Heard, he said, "In our house, we were never exposed to any type of safety or security. The only thing to do was stay out of the line of fire. My mother was quite unpredictable. She had the ability to be as cruel as anyone could be with all of us." Depp testified the violent home life he was brought up in taught him to never recreate the same kind of.
Oh, stay tuned for a Ben Chu impression coming up too
Oh
during the
no.
end of this. I'm very proud of it. It's very subtle. I'm very proud of it. Now, if we reenact some more of the trial, I want to do when we find out where Chu is in the old UK trial. We get to do him in long form.
Okay.
Abuse in his own home later in life. After all, he was emancipated at 17 by his mother, Betty Sue Palmer Depp. Yet, his position as a mega rich superstar meant he had a vast amount of money, and Depp had the rock star attitude to match it, spending lavishly and sometimes irresponsibly.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Crazy Robin. Yeah. Thank you, Arm. She doesn't represent any women or DV or IPV. Yeah, Sarah, the audacity to think you represent a whole species. Who even knows? To think even what percentage of women even know who you are? 10%. The hubris to think that you could even speak for them. That's egomaniacal and narcissistic, ironically, alone.
Mm-hmm.
To think that anybody could listen to you on that
It's
level.
it's disgusting, but technically she does represent domestic violence as a perpetrator.
Yeah, that's
But,
right.
so she wasn't really lying there in the op-ed. She became the face of it.
Such a strange, crazy case with more layers than George Costanza's Gore-Tex jacket.
Depp's former financial manager, Joel Mandel, testified last month the actor earned more than $600 million between 1999 and 2016, the year he split from Heard. Mandel claimed Depp's spending habits were becoming increasingly irresponsible during that time period. Depp spent money on mansions, a fleet of luxury cars, traveling only by private plane, and blasting the ashes of his late friend Hunter S. Thompson from a
Deal,
cannon
Belvin.
to the tune of $5 million. He also spent $100,000 per month for an addiction doctor, $10,000 a day for security detail, and $300,000 per month.
Melvin and Maury Boy want to team up with Mr. Feeny reading Andrew Dice Clay jokes. Deal. Great idea. Totally. Fun, cute. I'll do it.
For a full-time staff. It was previously claimed Depp's lavish lifestyle cost more than $2 million a month to maintain, causing the star's financial troubles.
Thank you, Crazy Robin.
Baressi said, I
Topanga
interviewed so
Canyon.
many
Thank you,
people
Crazy
who
Robin.
said there are many people who took advantage of Johnny. Johnny feels sorry for these people because maybe he feels guilty because he made so much money and he feels like he has to take care of these people. I think it proved to be the
Okay, Sunflower Dragon writes, I consider myself extremely woke, quote unquote, and anyone supporting her as an abuse victim warrior after that trial is just ignorant or disingenuous. It'll come down to money, and she won't be a draw whatsoever. Thank you, Sunflower Dragon, for your brutal honesty.
bane of his existence. Unfortunately, his ruin was in part his own doing. Johnny would let them have free reign and walk all over him. Isaac Baruch, who testified on Johnny's
Here we
behalf,
go.
he's the worst of all. He's been living off Johnny his entire adult life. Johnny was a big addict, and in those moments that he was distracted, they would just take things from him. And that's what he's lived with for decades. He added.
So that's the first Isaac Baruch defamation we've seen. I mean, this is that he just basically says what it is, which Isaac admits in the trial. But I guess he went back and he's like, this guy is, if anyone's kind of quote unquote leached on to Depp, it's Isaac Baruch, and that's the first time anybody said anything negative about him since his beloved testimony.
Yeah,
He's the
well,
worst of
whatever.
all.
Baressi, shut up, Baressi.
He grew up to be a sensitive, fragile man. He didn't have the role models to champion him. Baressi said he realized much of Depp's fall from grace was his own doing because he allowed himself to be surrounded by people who would just take advantage of him.
For the chat, I'm not eating cereal. I don't eat a lot of breakfast anymore, so I don't have the greatest sweet tooth. I do eat some desserts and stuff, but I don't have the greatest. I used to love cereal, and I'm not a huge breakfast eater. I'm too anxiety ridden when I wake up, and I don't eat. It takes me a long time to get up the stomach to eat anything until I'm kind of my circadian rhythm is there.
I'm country. I got to eat bacon and eggs and country breakfast when I get up.
Oh, I love a good breakfast. An egg sandwich in one hand and my other hand on the home keys. Oh, it's right out of AJ Benz's book in Newsday.
PI said the decline and downfall were due to these grifters, these wannabes, these
Hooper 45 says I need a serial coach.
God, 2,000 a minute
that came into Johnny's life. They would insinuate into Johnny's life. They would milk him for whatever he was worth, not so much materialistically or monetarily, but emotionally. It wasn't only Baressi who thought Depp had a problem with his demanding entourage. Chuck E. Weiss, one of Depp.
Okay, this is a musician friend of Depp who he's obsessed. Remember the video we watched? We haven't gone over yet, where he was at Jonathan Ross in a convertible in the early '90s,
Mm-hmm.
and they met Dennis Leary. They went to see this guy play. That eventually became the Viper Room. He bought that place and then turned it into the Viper Room. This musician Chuck E. Weiss, I guess it's this hip thing to like in Hollywood. I think that song, "Chuck is in Love," is about him.
Okay.
So somehow he has this cult following, and he's a huge friend of Depp's, and he comments on people taking advantage of Depp here.
Closest friends thought the people who Depp surrounded himself with were bad for the world famous actor. Before Weiss died in 2021, Baressi said the songwriter told him for decades Johnny's so called friends stole from him. The worst part is they relied on his alcohol and drug addiction to keep his head in the clouds. So he didn't even catch them doing it. Over the years, Johnny became accustomed to his friends helping themselves.
So you hear that, Sarah? It's a delicious cocktail of blissful ignorance
Mm-hmm.
and drug haze and just being a great, great menschy guy that people can just take what they want from you
Of
because you just
course.
don't know what the hell's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And we've heard some sense of that, but the way he frames it, it's more so there's a lot of things at play there that someone could it would just be like, I'm trying to think of
He's an
I guess go ahead, go ahead.
he's an easy mark with a side of loneliness. So if you can say the right 3 words to him as you approach him, he will be your friend for life. Therefore, you will be bankrolled your entire life.
And an amazing empathy for the human condition at the same time, who
Mm-hmm.
feels things so intense. And I really believe that. We tell it, we're certainly very on this show, we're not kissing we made a pact to not kiss his asshole. It's very easy to do, very easy direction to go. We're gonna call it like we see it. We're gonna call him out on certain things, gonna have some pushback, some devil's advocate opinions, and that's what's gonna make this, because if we just kissed his ass the whole time, it would just be an awful show to listen, and it may very well be. But
Yeah.
there's nothing fun about just kissing someone's ass, and he should have his ass kissed in many many ways, and that's one of the ways he should. It
Mm-hmm.
really is a lesson in human empathy and how to treat your fellow humans as equals, which he just doesn't have that thing on the Star Trip that every 99% of Hollywood has. Melvin says, remember the final scene in Terminator 2 when T2 is dumped in the molten steel and he transforms, asks through all forms. This is how Arm dies, going through all his impersonation.
I believe it.
You
You're
should
like
be mine.
your Doctor Who, you
Was stuff.
regenerate into completely different forms, and it's almost scary how good you are at doing it.
That was a role Depp almost played. So a lot of stuff is going to Benedict Cumberbatch,
Yeah,
who's
that's
almost
true.
Doctor Strange.
Cash, jewelry, even pieces of his clothing. Weiss said Depp had told him the manager of a nightclub, the Viper Room he owned, took cash from the till while a supposed
Saljenko.
friend had stolen
Mhm.
several $100 bills from his bedstand. Even at the time of Heard and Depp's split in May 2016, celebrity tattooist Jonathan Shaw, who did most of Depp's body artwork, wrote, as a close personal friend of Johnny Depp's for 30 years, I've only seen him be one of the kindest, gentlest, most sensitive and generous human beings
Oh my
I've ever
God.
had the great pleasure to know. The man is constitutionally incapable of raising a violent hand to a woman. Everything I know about Amber Heard, however, and it's a lot, seems to support the many claims that she is lying, a two-faced, bottom-feeding fame harpy who lives by the old Hollywood code, hooray for me and fuck you.
Oh, I like that.
It's disgustingly obvious to anyone with half a brain that the absurd, contrived allegations about Johnny's behavior are nothing but a pathetic and desperate attempt to extort money from my dear little brother.
Mhm.
After less than 3 days of deliberation, the jury ruled in favor of all 3 of Depp's defamation claims against Heard on Wednesday, finding that she had falsely accused him of domestic abuse. To simply segue to Richard Johnson's piece in the Daily News.
So what happens here is I found two pieces, and you guys remember Richard Johnson? You remember Richard Johnson from the rotating Jackie Chair days? He's a columnist in the vein
Unfortunately.
of AJ Benza. I know you remember him. I'm just generally asking the chat. He sat on Howard's show a lot of times. A lot of times he'd have great dirt on Howard and print it, and he'd break his balls. And he was a really good irritant for Howard to keep him honest back in those days. So he's still writing for the Daily News, and he did a follow-up or a conjunction piece. And so I fused the two pieces together. I gleaned a few things I found in his piece from that was different than the Daily Mail piece. And this is where the Ben Chu thing. Ben Chu apparently has a tete-a-tete with Baressi and his lawyer about a year ago, which is I found fascinating.
Amber Heard hired a private detective who used to be an adult film star to dig up dirt on her ex-husband, Johnny Depp, in the summer of 2019, and that is Paul Baressi, a mustachioed stud who appeared in Co-Ed Fever and Bad Girls 2 and other X-rated films. Baressi then reinvented himself as a
Teenage
private
tit
detective.
freaks.
He's worked for Tom Cruise, Eddie Murphy, and Sylvester Stallone. Now he's an issue in Depp's $50 million defamation suit against his ex-wife, who claims Depp repeatedly assaulted her. In a deposition taken in April of 2021, Depp's lawyer Ben Chu asked Heard's former attorney Eric George whether he was aware of Barisi's history in adult film. When George's lawyers instructed George to not answer, Chu quickly said, "We're going to fight this another day. Bank on it." Chu then asked George what tasks he gave to Barisi with respect to investigating Depp. This inquiry also met by objection from George's counsel and instructions for him not to answer. Barisi told me it was Amber herself who assigned me to find incidences involving Johnny's past bad acts, going as far back as the Viper Room days. The private eye was supposed to find other women Depp had physically abused, but came up empty. Mr. Chu was going down a rabbit hole when he quizzed Mr. George about my former adult entertainment career, Barisi said. He added, "It was hypocrisy of the highest order. Evidently, Mr. Chu forgot that Johnny Depp's co-star in Crybaby was Tracy Lords herself, one of the most controversial, notorious divas in the adult entertainment history. Barisi starred with Lords 6 years earlier in 1984's Miss Passion." Barisi said, "Unlike Johnny in Crybaby, however, the big screen exposure I got in Miss Passion was without the benefit of clothes." Barisi added, "Johnny's lawyer should be very pleased, and after 3 months of investigating Johnny, the only thing I find out about him was that everybody loved him."
Wow.
Too bad,
Wow.
Amber.
Wow. That's some crazy. I mean, that's that she fired him when he just couldn't dig up the dirt she wanted, and he
Hmm.
goes in and just finds out how beloved he. That's a crazy, crazy compliment there at the end. Not even a backward one.
I
What's?
love
Can
that
I
he
ask
went.
you any? Oh, go ahead, sir.
I love that he went public with what he found too.
Yeah, I know. I know. This is right. This is like 2 days ago.
Hmm.
Welcome, King Cap. Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Always a pleasure to see you, sir. There's one question, and I don't know if Melvin can look it up, or maybe you can, Sarah. I don't have it in front of me. My recollection of my Deppography encyclopedia is that she's born in '68. Tracy Lords, they just mentioned, did a porn film with this guy in '84. So that would make her 15 or 16.
She's born in
They're
'68.
okay. I got it right. Wow. I can't believe I remember that. So she's got to be underage when they shoot it, right? I mean, that what she was known for, right? Being like
That
jailbait.
was the scandal with her.
They also claim they had an affair in Crybaby. That's a rumor. I've not. Some people swear by it. It wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. He was not. He was with Winona firmly at that time.
What
No,
year
that was a
was
very big '89. So yeah, maybe he was just before Winona.
she?
Maybe
Was
he
20.
just who was 20.
Tracy Lords.
No, she was. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the porn film she shot with Barisi
Oh
in
yeah, she was.
'84.
Yeah, absolutely, she was underage. Her whole porn career,
That
she
was
was
her thing,
underage.
right? That was right.
Yeah,
That's she was known for.
except for the very end.
Okay. Let me okay, so to follow this one up. So what I want to do is I want to show you this is legitimate documentation from a lawsuit with Depp and his lawyers and over the $650 million and where did it go? And the lawyers documented a list of friends and family that took advantage of him, that Depp claimed it was a loan, but not really. And
Mhm.
so I went and I narrated it. What the hell did I call this? In Feeny speak. This is what I hate. This is what I hate, dude. This is when you get into that thing and you're looking
Mhm.
for did I move it? Did I move it? Depp's tour, Ed Norton, Depp's friends, and
You put everything in the
Keanu
same folder?
Reeves. This is what I think it is. Please play, please. Oh my god, what's going on here? No! Why is it muted? What did I do here? Oh, did I waste all that time recording that?
Well, we have a
What
collage
is
to look
that
at.
file? No!
It happens.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to
You can save it for next time.
What a waste of time.
That's okay. Save it for we'll do it next time.
Oh, how did I do that? That's the little gaffes you have during these shows where you just
I
go,
know.
Monique goes through this all the time. You're like, what's wrong? What's wrong? When you're on the other end, you don't understand it.
Mhm. Don't
There's no
get
way.
bombarded with stress right now. You have other videos to pull up.
Thanks for talking me off a ledge, Sarah.
You're cutting out a little bit, by the way.
I said, thanks for talking me off a ledge, Sarah.
Okay.
Did you hear that? You got that?
Yes, you're a little popcorny.
Still?
No, you're fine now. Okay, keep going.
Yes, it is exhausting, Gina. When I do that, sometimes I'll have the record thing and I will pause it after I read a paragraph or two, and then take a breath and do it again. So when you have the recording app, you hit pause and you don't. Sometimes I won't go all the way through because that's a way to make mistakes, and I'll just read 2 paragraphs, stop, analyze it, read again. It is exhausting. You're absolutely right. Great observation. To do it straight through, it's exhausting. Montreal, big time.
You love it because you're laughing at yourself the whole time.
Sometimes you laugh. Sometimes it's like when you say words like Rancho Cucamonga.
No,
You can't say it and not be sarcastic.
Mm-hmm.
And they read to certain times the writer hits a note or a certain word, and it's so pretentious that I can't say it with a straight face. Because they could have easily just euphemized, said something easier, and they want to sound smart.
Mm-hmm.
Montreal, I have everything set up for hurricanes. Okay, here's one. So we have so many different videos I can play. Though I want to maybe show you this. Is Tiger Lily's here? Tiger Lily, yes. So we want to have Tiger Lily fall out of love with Leonardo DiCaprio and Dave Grohl. So I want to show you some autograph juxtapositions. This is how you treat fans. This is what a mensch does. This is Johnny Depp on the set of Public Enemies as he gets to this is Oshkosh, David's from Indiana, Ohio. This is from Oshkosh, and Depp on the set of Public Enemies.
The volume down a little bit. Turn the volume down a little bit.
Okay, with him and his flank on his left. This is about 2009, I think this is Jerry Judge, who passed away. That was his head of security. It's kind of like Alfred Pennyworth meets Ronnie the limo driver.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of with him the whole time. Seems like a really great guy. He passed away, I think, 2 years ago. And you hear him on a lot of the audio footage in the background. Go, remember, Johnny is more important than Amber is. She's listening. I can hear her upstairs. She's listening to us now. And what he does is he plays good cop, bad cop with him here.
His death is the reason that audio didn't come in. But
That's right.
Turn the volume down on this a little bit.
Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks a lot.
How you doing, Johnny?
Playing bad cop.
Sure, Johnny.
Nice to see you. Hey. You guys good? Hello, sweetheart. What's your name?
Oh,
My name's Andy.
Andy and Madeline. Well, very nice to meet you.
and Sarah.
Besides, we were in the newspaper. Did you see us?
Were you in the newspaper? I'm gonna go find the picture and I'm gonna check it out, okay? I'll let you know. All right. You guys take care, all
I never saw it.
Okay, he exhaustingly does this for everybody he comes in contact. Whether it's here, he's shooting public enemies, or at a premiere, or you get
Yeah.
him spontaneously somehow on the street. He's always like this. This is how you treat your fellow humans.
I've
This
never
is how
seen
it's
him
done.
not do this.
I've never either. It's crazy. So here is Keanu Reeves, who is one of the only people I'd put up with Depp in his sort of weight class,
Mhm.
who treats people in a very similar fashion. Let me see if I got.
I think NA. Let me just say this. NA. I love NA. I think he's Elon Musk.
What do you say?
Doesn't-
Oh, because he's too anti-establishment. He's very contrarian with it. No, we need some pushback. I mean,
no,
absolutely.
he says priests talk nice to kids too. It's like,
NA, you son of a bitch! It's killing my vibe. Keanu Reeves gets on his motorcycle. He gets blindsided by some autograph people. Boom, walks over. Hey guys, what's up? Signs everything.
The light?
Doesn't care where it's going.
Yeah, that's it. No. Yes.
got
Gets
it.
on his motorcycle. Slowly leaves.
Oh,
Here's
bye.
Keanu. I guess I'm not sure which airport it is.
Okay.
It's his birthday. And everybody recognizes him.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know if he's taking coach or first class. Shakes hands, a woman jumps in front of him. Hey, how you doing? Selfie. You don't like Keanu Reeves, you will have to.
Here we go. This is for everybody. Come on.
Another one stop again.
Happy birthday, man. Everybody gonna want to stop you now. Come on, Keanu. Come on, Keanu. You gotta go. You gotta go. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Keanu. Birthday plans for the birthday boy. Appreciate you.
Crazy second. And he's just going to check in and with it. There's paparazzi, doesn't give a shit. There's a selfie right in the middle of the top.
This way.
Still chasing him. Doesn't care. You get the hint. So
Yeah.
on the other side of that, let's go look at how Mr. DiCaprio handles a big
I gotta
fan.
say, before you do that, I've never found Keanu Reeves attractive other than in
Except-
Speed. And the beard's working.
Oh, I mean, it's not everybody's, cup of tea, but okay, where am I? Do I not have? Oh God, oh God, oh God! Please, please, please. Okay, here we go.
Fine.
So Leonardo DiCaprio, and I think, okay, let's go with DiCaprio first, and let's not leave Jonah Hill out of this. Another piece of shit. Two arrogant, entitled, little spoiled Hollywood brats in
Yeah.
Greenwich Village. It's just some dude wants to take a selfie, and it takes longer to say no than do it, which is crazy.
Yeah,
to me.
exactly.
Right here.
King shit walking down the sidewalk.
Look.
Nice.
So that's Jonah Hill, who is just hanging out on the street and they're slumming it. And these guys are in New York and we're trying to be artists and we're in the West Village. And so they're obviously friends from Wolf of Wall Street, which is fine. That's not the issue. So they're hanging out and this weird entourage comes around and they huddle and watch.
That's nice.
Here comes his
Very Donnie
hangers-on
Brasco
friends.
sounds, right?
Oh yeah, this guy. I've seen this.
This guy just coming back from doing laundry. Hey, look who it is. Crazy. Can I just have a picture? And no, he swats him away.
Denied.
Then he goes to Jonah Hill. He completely won't make eye contact with him. What a piece of shit. I mean, how much easier would it be to just...
Oh, with the girl, they take a picture.
And then a girl
not with the guy.
Right.
Of course.
So the power of the puss, you get the selfie. And he goes away. All right, enough of Leo. As if I didn't hate him enough. He needs a Me Too. I want him to get a comeuppance.
I'm shocked he doesn't have one.
I hope one's coming soon. I would love for him to get humbled.
Technically he did have a Me Too, but he was the victim as a child.
He hangs out with that whole crowd, right? That whole weird. Remember the Pussy Posse? Remember that old thing with him and his Tobey Maguire and.
Tobey Maguire, as we learned in our Viper Room episode, is quite the Me Tooer as well.
Yeah. So he was actually involved in that Viper Room Molly Bloom's poker game stuff. Yeah. So here's Dave Grohl, who we thought was one of us and this crazy dude, and he's down to earth, and he's Foo Fighters and everybody's favorite band, and this is what his new policy is.
I know. Let me say something too. I know Dave Grohl. Everybody loves the Foo Fighters. Oh, I'm still in the Nirvana era. Foo Fighters, I'm like, eh. Kurt Cobain's, there's nobody who spins faster in their grave, if he had one, than Kurt Cobain at what Dave Grohl has become with the jock rock. Anyway, let's play this.
I like their music, but this makes me not like them.
But it's like, okay.
Right, Dave. One thing.
I'm gonna say it one more time.
I know, but one thing.
I'm gonna say it one more time.
May I have your selfie?
I stopped signing shit unless it's for charity. Okay?
Can we donate something? Can we donate?
You said that in New York and then signed in DC the next day.
That's it.
Can you write your name on it, please?
You can write my son's name on it.
Here's the other thing. See ya.
Come on, Dave, please.
You can personalize it to Geo.
Har. And that's the real guy. Now I ask you, how long would it take? Does it take longer to say no like that than to actually just sign it and walk away? And just at least, what would have been so difficult? If I sign it, then everybody else wants to sign it. I don't believe that at all.
Well,
I think
he's
you can do that in
got to
seconds.
stand there and be patronizing and condescending, and he's got to give his little speech and run off because he's the quirky one. You were the third drummer in Nirvana. I know he was the best drummer, but he was still the third third drummer Nirvana. All right, now I'm gonna get shit for that. So let's go.
Okay, let me get rid of these. Remove from the studio. That DiCaprio thing was so reductive. Just swatting away at a dude. All you had to do was like, hey, 2 seconds. And he swats away at him. What a piece of shit.
Yeah.
What an overrated piece, by the way. The only reason Scorsese loves that his name sounds so Italian. So he just miscast him and everything. When he plays a tough guy, it is laughable. It is so ridiculous when he tries to play a tough guy. He's always miscast. More miscast than Amber Heard. Okay, so we're going to go to what I thought was a thing we've been wondering about. So this is what happens when, okay, this is a lawyer. You want to see Kathleen Zellner, or do you want?
Yeah, let's do Kathleen Zellner. The theory with her before, I don't know if you're going to get into it, but the suspicion was when she's from Making a Murder fame, the very popular Netflix documentary. I never watched it. But Depp, the story, I won't get into it much, but the theory was when Depp hired her on, she was going to be the one to do the cross-examination. This woman on the right. So that didn't happen. But anyway, let's get into this. So she might explain it. I haven't watched this.
Yeah, and there was a big to-do made about it. It was a huge deal on Twitter. I tweeted about it. We were so excited. We were gonna agree to each other to watch Making of a Murderer and try to figure out who she is. She is the face of a 75-year-old with the hair of a 15-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And I
That's
didn't
all
know
right.
she looks way different. I'm just but so somehow she was a consultant through all this, and everybody was excited that she was going to basically do Camille's job. She
Mm-hmm.
was going to handle the cross, and she was going to take down the succubus, and she just kind of hung out as a consultant the whole time. It's weird.
Yeah.
But so now here she is on Law and Crime, explaining what happened to her and her opinions on how it went, and she's tweeting about the trial. And I hope you bear with me on this.
Defamation. Joining me right now, live via Zoom, is somebody who was involved in Johnny Depp's team. She was brought in as a consultant and an advisor. Famed attorney Kathleen Zellner is here with us, joining us. Kathleen, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so excited that you've agreed to do this, and we really appreciate it. Your thoughts on the jury's verdict?
I think that the jury absolutely reached the right verdict. I think it's hugely vindicating and exonerating and everything for Johnny. It's something, that he's really had to deal with, particularly since the UK.
That's not us. That's Zellner's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
The Law and Crime's perfect. We're perfect. That's Zellner's Wi-Fi.
Verdict. And, all the way back to the TRO being entered in 2016. So I think it's a great victory. It reassures me about how well juries work and why we can trust jurors to come to the right decision. I think the case boiled down to a contest of credibility. I think that Johnny had a wonderful trial team that was totally prepared for this. And, they performed even above expectation. They were just outstanding. But it's a great day for him.
I feel like, defamation, we've talked about this so many times on the air, especially when you're dealing with a public figure, is very difficult to prove because of the actual malice standard. But they did it. The jury evaluated all of the evidence. They watched Amber Heard's testimony. So your thoughts?
There's 95-year-old David, right? Haha, arm switching voices. Not since Peter Sellers in Doctor Strangelove has there been a stellar dual role performance. There's a 33-year-old talking about Doctor Strange. Where's Ben Benjamin when you need him? Oh my God, David, that's so good.
Thoughts on that?
Well, I had always thought, and I really approached the case more as a criminal attorney.
One thing, Sarah, you're an expert on this. Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein. That trial was not televised because why? It was a
federal cases aren't televised.
federal case. Right. Everybody wanted it to be. There was a Nick Wallace type that was a court stenographer that was
Yeah, but there are other suspicions as to why it wasn't televised.
Yeah,
But it's
which
also
I
a
believe.
sexual abuse
Right.
case where you had underage victims. There were photographs probably that were entered, many reasons, but I think the main, if it was federal, which I'm not 100% sure on, I believe so, but if it was federal, it's not going to be televised.
NA, right. So it would take Daily Mail with a grain of salt nowadays. It seemed like they went full Trump since he lost the election, as if they're trying to lure people back to the craziness because it was so good for them. When I
Yeah.
read an article, NA, I trust my own intelligence to vet it myself, and I know what I'm looking for. I know where the slant and bias is. Sometimes I'm just trying to get information, and I'll glean the information. I know the bias. I know who owns these things. By the way, Sarah, is well, I'm gonna get to that. It was about fucking Mia Farrow. Does she own the New Yorker, the New York City magazine and paper?
Mia Farrow?
Yeah, because she was the editor. She cleared the article that was the anti-Depp piece that was written 2 days ago. It said that she greenlit it. So she owns the New Yorker, or how does that work?
I don't think she owns it. I'm looking it up.
She's got some editorial control. And since that whole Woody Allen pretentious
Ronan
New York.
Farrow's written for it.
Okay, so Mia Farrow has
But
some stake in it.
I Keep talking. I'm looking it up.
It's okay. Dr. Strangelove. Yes, there was a strange underage. I'll play the I'll play it. Give through it.
And Johnny had reached out to me just a few months ago. I told him I was getting ready for a murder case, and then the murder case got continued, so I was able to carry on conversations with him and sit through some of the depositions. But I really think it came down to credibility. I think her case failed. And looking at it as a criminal attorney, it failed on the forensic evidence. Those beatings and abuse that she described did not happen. I've been doing criminal cases for over 30 years, and the forensic evidence simply wasn't there. She just did not suffer the injuries. Forget about having witnesses. I can understand, that abuse victims don't have firsthand.
So once again, Depp saw her on Making of the Murderer and apparently contacted her because he liked her style. And I guess she's a defamation expert. And they contacted her. For some reason, they decided they weren't going to use her. And they made the perfect move. I mean, using Camille to counteract the succubus of being in the same demographic and more attractive, in my opinion. And it looks like if I'm not taking this seriously, then you should neither, because I'm a woman, I'm in her demographic, and I don't believe her. And it was a brilliant stroke by Chu to serve her up.
Yeah. Mia Farrow in the New Yorker, she does not own it. I didn't think Frank Sinatra left her that much money, but she's just written articles for them in the
Okay, so
past.
she has some weird editorial control, not control, but like power or autonomy there.
Yeah, I think
You get a
it's because of
celebrity
her
to write an
son.
article and they'll use, and then Ronan Farrow, right. Ronan Farrow is like, I think David's the Ronan Farrow of Woodland Hills and orchestras in a way. Don't you feel like that?
Sure.
The precocious, cerebral.
Knowledge, witnesses present, but the evidence was.
No, I can't hear you.
Wasn't there. There just was not the forensic evidence to support what she was claiming. The second thing, because I've represented a lot of sexual abuse victims over the years.
About the Australia, the bottle rape, with sexual assault, you point that out.
She wasn't afraid of him. She was, taunting him. She was very aggressive. And so her case just collapsed, and that falls at her feet. She just was not credible.
Thank you, Sunflower Dragon, once again for all your contributions. It's very generous of you. Thank you.
That's why she lost.
I think it's really interesting that you point that out, and I've talked about this only briefly on the air. I've done stories. I've covered.
Sarah, should we show Amber's fappening?
No, I have them
Shots
on my
at some point?
computer, but no.
You have Tonto
Don't show them.
Man and the whole thing.
Yeah,
Can
I
we
have the whole
show some-
Tonto Man series.
NA wants them. I think he wants them. I think he loves them. I think he. And I can't thank you enough for that Kate Moss link too. I loved that was great going over those. I think there's a lot of dirt in there the trial never used, but I cannot thank you enough for that link for the unauthorized Kate Moss biography, which is better than the authorized one.
Cases about sexual assault over the years. I've covered trials involving sexual assault, and these allegations that she made about the Australia, the bottle rape, which to me is indicative of some type of sexual sadism that is, it's so over the top and out there. She did not seem to me to present as other sexual assault victims who I had seen over the years. So I would agree with you on that. Also, I've talked about this. My mom counseled sex offenders who got out of prison over the years to try to help them get back into society. And that's the type of things people who are in prison for hardcore rapes do. So I think it was rather, you know what I mean? I maybe I'm getting too far into the weeds here, but that is some hardcore.
I agree with you.
That is, I mean, that's the kind of stuff my mom, I remember her.
Yeah, it would be a very advanced sexual predator. It would not be someone that started out and that was their first sexual assault.
Color me self-indulgent, guys, but I've always wanted to know what Zellner was. It was like an suburban what are they called? Suburban mystery or suburban myth. We kept hearing her name. Is she involved in the trial? Is she not? And it was bothering the hell out. We kept bringing it up all the time. Where is she throughout the trial? So this is for me. I've always wanted to hear her weigh in on it. It was like an urban myth, is what I was trying to say, that she was even involved in the thing.
Well,
So this is a bit self-indulgent, but
she was assisting with the behind the scenes stuff, and she was also because when she tweets, she gets a lot of attention.
right.
So she would tweet things here and there that would where she would state his innocence and in her experience people act this way and they don't act this way, and I mean she did have a hand in this. I would pay her to tweet if I could afford her.
Yeah, I mean, she has this crazy credibility from that Making of the Murderer show, and apparently she's a notorious defamation attorney. That like top notch in and that's what Depp could afford and what he was going after.
And you're right. I mean, we've had cases where people have been raped with objects, and that is somebody that's very far advanced in that pathology. And plus, just she could not explain, the fact he had his cast on. The evidence wasn't there. There wasn't anything that indicated it happened the way she said. Even the location was wrong. And she did not show the trauma that I've seen with sexual assault victims. And you're right about the perpetrators. There's no possible way that somebody would just wake up at age 58 and commit that kind of crime. It never.
I agree.
Incredible opportunity for this
guy.
What he's been able
discussed many times over the years, and when I told her about this, we had a discussion about it, and those are the types of things that people do to torture victims and to put themselves in a position of power over their victims. Let's talk now. I want to know how you got involved in this case. I read an article in the Daily Mail saying that Johnny Depp actually saw you in Making a Murderer too, and that's how you came to become a part of this team. Is that right?
Well, I guess that's what happened. He called me. He left a voicemail at my office, and we couldn't really believe it was Johnny Depp that called, but it sounded like he left the phone number.
I should be
and
doing
just said he wanted to talk to me. So that was at the end of December, and I was supposed to start a first-degree murder case in January, which I explained to him. It was interesting to me why he reached out to me. And it was indicative to me of the fact that he was innocent, because he said, I saw in Making a Murderer where you said that you'd be the last person someone would hire if they were guilty, because you would find out about it. And that I was very struck with that, but that's what motivated him to contact me. But his trial team was excellent, and they really had their entire plan in place at the point I came in. So I provided moral support for him, and also just, the fact that, her story was not believable, looking at it as a criminal lawyer. And, I really enjoyed getting to know him and having conversations with him. I think we all believed in him. We all believed that he could prevail and that he would be able to tell the story and win the jury over. So, yeah, it was an amazing experience, but I did come in right at the end.
You're saying you were providing moral support. He contacted you, so you have a relationship with him. Is Johnny Depp, is what we saw on the stand Johnny Depp? Because a lot of people tried to say, well, he's an actor. He was doing this. I read something in the, a New York Post opinion piece where they were saying, give him an Oscar already. Your thoughts on comments like that, and did we see the real Johnny Depp?
Yes, you did see the real Johnny Depp. He's exactly the way he presented himself. His speech pattern is exactly that's the way he speaks. He's very thoughtful. He speaks very slowly. He thinks about everything that he says. None of that was acting. That is who he is. And he never varies from that. I found him to be just a very humble and sincere person.
Speaking of which, thank you, David. Let's talk about Depp's relationship with the fans and public, because you can't fake this kind of fan relationship either. He's having it off the cuff and back and forth, listening to fans, responding in real time. You just can't fake that. It's almost like right in line with what Zellner's saying.
And probably one of the most unpretentious people I've ever met in my life. He's the real deal. That is the person that he is. That's not an act.
Balo, don't get me wrong. I'm not comparing Keanu's talent to Depp's. It's a way different thing. Depp's this crazy chameleon, basically Daniel
It's just the
Day-Lewis.
character.
Yeah. And Keanu is a super famous guy, though. And he's very good at what he does when he plays those, and very likable. And I'm just comparing. He is a superstar. I feel he's an A-list superstar. Depp's way more talented. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not comparing their acting talent.
Well, that's really interesting to me. What would you like? You said he's not pretentious. I'm wondering, and I don't want to violate any confidences because he is technically a client, sort of, since you're an advisor, a consultant. He had said when he first got on the stand, he was doing this because of his children. Is there anything you can share with us about that motivation for him?
Okay.
I do. I mean, I believe everything that he said on the stand was sincere. I do believe, what he stated is exactly how he felt, that he was very concerned about his legacy and rectifying this horrible lie that had been told about him. I think the great thing about his testimony is the trial team really brought out all of his thoughts about this. I thought they did a wonderful job of letting him, and I think that was Jessica Myers that did the direct.
Yes.
She did a wonderful job of just letting.
Yeah, the Kennedy from MTV lawyer is Jessica Myers. So she's the brunette with the glasses. She's sort of soft-spoken. She did a kind of an unheralded job, I guess, behind the scenes. She was there. You didn't know who was speaking half the time. Camille and Chu got most of the attention, and then, but she was kind of there the entire time. I don't think she ever disappeared.
I'm
And then
shocked she
Wayne
didn't.
Dennison.
I'm shocked she didn't get fired for saying she didn't believe the rape story.
Oh, right. That's a good point. That'd be enough.
Him explain himself. That's the way, if you were sitting with him today, that's exactly what he would tell you. He never varies. He doesn't contradict himself. He doesn't tell different stories. He's just a truth teller. So I'm.
Crazy Robin goes, in all fairness, Leo was drunk and just pulled out of his boyfriend.
Oh, God. He had some stink down low. That's gross.
I'm so happy for him. He's been reborn.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you on that. And I don't know Johnny Depp, obviously, but I remember seeing him the first day of the trial. There's a TikTok video that they put together at the network of me saying, hey, I'm here and I'm doing this. And they it goes to a show.
So, Sarah, that's Angenette Levy, who did the thing we're going to go to next, which is your favorite, your hero, the court stenographer. We're going to go to her next.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, whatever. You're running the show.
Saw to him in the courtroom.
Welcome, Okashi.
And he looked very concerned, and he had come into the courtroom and kind of greeted his legal team and smiled, but this kind of a bewildered look on his face. But then we saw that lift. I don't know if you noticed that, but I saw a change throughout the course of this trial, and he seemed.
This is a very, very astute, great comment and observation by the broad. And we've been saying this. I think you said it. I didn't say it enough. If I did, you could see Depp's spirit rise as that trial went. You could see him sunken in and all melancholy. And as the weeks went on, he's having more faith in the system and people, making him feel good as he leaves the court. And she's absolutely spot on with the way she frames it. Very well said.
The day he put his hair back, it was night and day for me. I'm not talking about looks.
He did that pretty soon, though. He did that pretty quickly. And I think it was more of like the second week or two.
Yeah, it was the second week.
Yeah. And you saw his spirit. I mean, she's spot on the way she's framing this. Physically, you could see he got a little brighter, got a little, and sometimes, some people can't pick up on that stuff, and she did. And I agree with every word she says here.
to really get kind of a spring in his step, if you would, or almost like he got his mojo back. Did you kind of notice that change?
Yes, absolutely. That's very perceptive. You notice that because I felt that he definitely gained all of his energy back, and I think belief in the justice system. I think the UK trial, was really a travesty, and a lot of the evidence wasn't evaluated. So yes, I think it just, it was like he emerged with a huge weight lifted off of him.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that, and I think maybe some other people did too. Well, Kathleen Zellner, thank you so much for coming on such short notice again.
Okay, good enough. Good spot. I enjoyed that. David Rich, Jonah Hill's the biggest star fucker ever, maybe bigger than Howard. He drafts on his Rolodex and not his talent in order to have a career. Yeah, also too, David, he's born in that Hollywood royalty, right? It's like him and Seth Rogen. Is this weird James Franco? By the way, James Franco, it's interesting too. Like Amber Heard, who's now afraid there's no bigger abuser in Hollywood than James Franco, and that's who you're comfortable around?
Well,
like that should have been emphasized, right? How are you comfortable around this monster? He's a legit monster. It's been proven. How many accusers is he? Oh, well, I can't believe that wasn't harped on a little more.
Thing she used that though against Depp when she, when she was Pineapple Express, that garbage movie.
Yeah.
When she said I'm not comfortable going to work because he just seems so rapey. So that would get her husband worked up.
Well, also to the Adderall Diaries.
Oh, whatever.
That was the second. That was the New York movie, and Pineapple Express was before that.
Yeah, Adderall Express was the big one, right?
You put them together.
Yeah.
You put them nice.
That would get your husband worked up. Your protector worked up. So especially when you announce, I'm going to be doing a movie with James Franco, and we're going to be running lines, and I'll be staying late at set. And what the fuck?
I also think there was this wink thing. And again, I'm not going to say that Depp's career wasn't a lot of his own doing. I mean, he had we went over this last major bombs and bad decisions, and he was on a downward spiral on his own. Forget about her. Just bad box office decisions, horrible, lazy cronyism, artistic decisions. And guys like Franco were being poised to be like the next Depp. Like this kind of, you know what I mean? There's this little underbelly of people who are a decade younger than him coming up. And I think she probably latched on to him thinking this is a rocket ship that this is the next grift. You know what I mean? They already had a pre-established relationship. And could you imagine just any guy or anybody with even hell hath, if you're abroad, and you could reverse it, but just be a guy and your building, you had elevator footage of that, and you had to watch that, how fucking enraged you would be. I'd be way worse than him. I think I have a worse temper than he does. I really do.
Yeah.
I'd be way worse the damage I'd cause.
And
I'm not even a jealous person, but just seeing it in your elevator, in your building.
That you basically paid for. Yeah.
And how much work you put in and the movies you've done, and you just disappeared for 4 months, and then you're thinking, what else am I missing? What else is going on in this place while I'm not here? What the fuck am I going to look for on this elevator footage? He's going through. Who knows what he didn't tell us is on the footage, right? We don't even know all of it. I don't think we do.
I'm desperate to know what time James Franco left, which was very strange because they never showed him the time stamp for him leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
Knowing that your wife, who I'm assuming they were having sex, is banging other men in your bed while you're working for months, trying to pay for that penthouse and her friends, and she's fucking other men in your bed.
That's crazy. You can't. And then Elon with it, and then you're seeing
and probably others.
Then you're connecting all the dots at that point. At some point, the switch goes off. You're like, oh, wait a minute. So that means that she must have been doing this, and that's what she meant when she was going. And then he's starting to connect all the dots. That's got to be just infuriating once the epiphany sets in.
Yeah.
Okay, next clip is Sarah's. This is Sarah's here. Sarah, you love this woman. I mean, I think the court stenographer in this Nobody loves this woman more than Sarah. And I think you tap into this woman's plight and her life. I think your life is somewhat similar to how she lives hers. And you loved her from day one. So, in the same woman, Angenette Levy from Law and Crime tracks down Judy Bellinger, and they struck up some kind of relationship. Judy Bellinger is a court stenographer. Apparently, she got smeared online for being biased towards Depp and falling for his charm. And she goes to the after party. The after party is not what you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
So she explains here what exactly happens. She
Yeah.
has Judy Bellinger on her show for an impromptu interview.
Before you pause it, though, don't play it yet. David C. says, Franco said he lived in the building. Franco did not live in the building because Amber Heard had to let him in with her little fob. And also, nobody else lived on that penthouse floor. And that's the floor that they got out on. Anyway.
Exactly, Pelel. Face of a 75-year-old with the hair of a 15-year-old. In other words, a female Howard. Exactly. You beat me to it. Decision. Okay, so this is Judy Bellinger, the court stenographer in Fairfax. We saw she's right under Judge Ascarati, who called her a quote rock star, who Depp was making her feel great on a regular basis. And you get to hear her talk about her experience with Amber Heard. It should come to no surprise how she was treated.
His legal team, things like that. This video is going around and people are saying that she did something inappropriate. You see the video there popping up on the screen. Johnny Depp had given her a hug. That's a friend of Johnny Depp's, a longtime friend who gave her a hug as well. And Judy and I talked about this because this is something that's been coming up online. I'm going to let you listen to Judy explain how this whole encounter came about. This was obviously not in the courtroom. This took place at an event. So let's listen to Judy explain what happened and how she ended up in the same room, not only with Johnny Depp, but his legal team and some of his friends.
So after closing arguments, I finally decided I wanted to get out of the courthouse and just take a breather. We were supposed to go until about 5:30, maybe 6 if the jury wanted to. And so I thought, I want to maybe try to go to Indiana this weekend. Let me run down the street and get my oil changed, and I'll come back and go back up.
Get her oil changed. Take that any way you want.
Oh my
God. So she's driving to Indiana from Fairfax. I don't know what kind of ride that is. It's got to be what?
More than I want to do.
It's a long ride. I don't know what do you do? You go across maybe it's not as far as I think it is.
That might be where she lives.
With
she
today's
travels
gas
around
prices.
the country.
By the way, just a quick aside. How much do you think it costs to fill up these SUVs or taking them in and out of court on a daily basis with today's $5 plus gas prices?
I can tell you. My mother has one, and she drives for doctor's appointments, sometimes 5 hours back and forth. It is, I think she said the last time she filled up the tank, it was $160.
Oh my God. And this is a middle income suburban woman. And that's a lot of money. That is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And I guess I'm not saying anything people don't know, but just seeing that at the pump, I would just keep putting like a little by little in until if the gas prices drop, then you didn't pay their price. That's what I do.
Yeah, I would throw
I put
up.
as little as possible, and then I wait for the price to drop.
Mhm.
Almost like I'm playing the stock market with it's so crazy we don't have a handle on this. We're still a prisoner to big oil. The Halliburton shit. Isn't it crazy this still goes on?
Yeah,
I don't want to get off.
absolutely. It's gross.
Okay. Good.
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm
what
not
she.
going
I'm
there
just.
with you.
No, listen.
The courthouse closes at a certain time, and I didn't make it back in time. And Judge Ascarati just wanted to close the record. And I'm like, oh, yeah, well, I'm stuck outside. I'm getting my oil changed. And she goes, oh, it's okay. Well, she didn't say it. I was getting messages. And I said, okay, just don't worry. My recording's going. It's just closing the record. I'll, transcribe it when I get back. But then I needed my equipment. So, Mr. Chu, and it was...
Thank you, Steph Taylor. No federal cases are televised ever.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That confirms it. Thank you, Steph. And she's going into now a story about how Ben Chu and I believe, God damn it, I think it was Jessica helped her with this. This says everything about his legal team.
Rebecca. I think they were the ones that were there, and they were kind enough to pack up my computer for me in my backpack, because that's all I needed. I leave my machine there because it's just quicker to come in and just set up my computer and not have to set everything up every day all over. So they were kind enough. They said, okay, if you tell us how to, disconnect everything, we'll bring it to you, because we have an office right around the corner from where we are now, and this is where they were staying. And I said, hey, I have an office on Greensboro. I can meet you there and get my equipment, and I can get the transcript out this weekend. So they're like, okay. And then I guess Johnny had told them he would really like to meet the court reporter.
Sarah, tell me if you want me to stop it.
No, I'm listening.
I'm saying, just don't feel sheepish about, feeling you need, don't worry about, because I know you're obsessed with this woman and you tap into everything she is and does, and you have been, and you always will be. She's your very favorite thing about this whole show. So don't feel sheepish about telling me to stop.
I guess Johnny had told them he would really like to meet the court reporter, which was like shocking to me. I'm like, I'm just the court reporter. And so when they brought me my equipment, well, they were going to bring it, and there was no one at our Greensboro office, and you can't get in if there's no one there. So
and it's Memorial Day weekend.
Right. So
it's a holiday weekend.
Yes. So they just brought it back to the hotel, and they said, hey, do you mind if we just take it to the hotel and you can pick it up here? And actually, it took me a minute. I didn't know how to get up here. I didn't know you had to come in the downstairs door and then go to another floor and then get to another floor.
It's a little confusing.
It is very confusing. And so they had my computer and stuff with them, and they were in the hospitality room, and Johnny was in there. And so I had to go in there and get my equipment, and I saw him, and they're like, he really wants to meet you. And I was in there for probably less than 10 minutes, and he just hugged me and thanked me again, and I hugged a couple other people there, and I got my equipment, and I came out, and I left and went home.
That's really funny, because a lot of people are suggesting you're just out at the after party hanging out, with Johnny Depp, and that's not what.
We showed you the video last time, and it was done in a way where you might think it was an after party and she's in on it and stuff. It was done in black and white. There's like a Leonard Cohen song over it, so that you would get the wrong impression reading that. And she's explaining, no, it was a circled back, and I didn't realize that a hospitality room for them, which is, I don't know if that's normal in court.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Probably a conference room or something.
What happened?
Not at all. I still had a 40, well, from here, I had about a 50-minute drive home. So, no, that did not happen.
Angenette Levy, let me throw it back to you, but let me just say that.
Crazy Robin. Speak to sadism is not something you open your eyes one day and decide to engage in. That's exactly, she's quoting Zellner. That's exactly right.
I agree,
Crazy
100%.
Robin. Snowball fights, and then go first. The dude in MA definitely killed that woman. Arm called her, and she ended up on Johnny's team. I was trying to figure. I was obsessed with what this woman was, and I'm almost glad I didn't. Not that I'm glad. I was going to watch Making of the Murder. I was trying to find out who and what she was and what made her so great. I never did, and she never showed up. Like I sat there watching the thing, waiting for her to show up, and she just never did. And I'm like, what? She'd kind of meekly tweet, and I guess every time you don't know what happened to these people, they're consultants. That Adam Waldman, I spent most of the year looking for Waldman, and he was, where's Waldman? He was the initial lawyer. He was Depp's hardcore pit bull lawyer initially. He's in the Rolling Stone piece, and he caused so much trouble he couldn't represent him during this.
Exactly.
But I'm sure he was consulting the whole time.
He would have been like second seat behind Ben Chu had he not been kicked off the case.
Reporters are heroes. They're heroes. They 40 years like laboring away. They're friends with everybody in the courtroom if you want to be friends with them.
And that's absolutely right. And, she and I had spoken about how this all had to do with, she said she's friendly to everybody. She says hello to.
Again, this woman's name is Angenette Levy, and I guess she's a major host on this Law and Crime. By the way, I just found this stuff in case you forget. Savannah Guthrie, who does she's actually a really good interview. She's on NBC this morning. She really destroyed Trump during the elections.
Too bad she couldn't
had
do
him
that for
one.
Bonnie.
Oh, I know. She was good in the Bonnie. She only had it for 5 minutes. You can't do much.
There's
What
a
are you gonna
lot
do
of
in
things
5
you could
minutes?
say in 5 minutes.
Savannah Guthrie used to be on Court TV,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't realize. That's pretty crazy. It makes sense. That's Jennifer. That's who Jennifer Aniston plays on the morning show.
Everybody. I happened upon her in the hallway during deliberations. She was just sitting out there waiting because we were all sitting and waiting for the verdict to come in. And obviously, because she had been hired by not only the Depp team, but also the Heard team, they had agreed to contract with this company to get those daily transcripts. She's sitting there waiting like we all were. And I just struck up a conversation with her and I said, hey, you're Judy, right? And she said, yeah. And I said, hi, I'm Angenette. And we just got to talking and we, obviously developed a chit-chat relationship during deliberations. And we talked about how I was like, wow, you were a rock star, according to Judge Ascarati. And she would have these little chit-chats with Johnny Depp only because of proximity. She's sitting right in front of the plaintiff's table in the courtroom. And also, she talked about Amber Heard too. We had to talk about Amber Heard. And she said that she would say, when Amber Heard got on the stand, she'd say hello, and Amber Heard just smiled. So these were things that we talked about. We talked about a number of things, actually. So I think it's being blown out of proportion. I don't think Judy did anything wrong. She has told me that
should the Nixon administration
people are trying to report her to the Court Stenographers Association of Virginia or to the National Court.
Very behind.
You hear that?
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to report her to the Court Stenographer Union for violating her ethics
ridiculous.
for that. It's great. That's how hard. That's the hardball they're playing.
Had she been in Heard's court or shown up to give Amber Heard a hug, no problem.
Yep.
Stenographers Association and claiming that she was biased and acted inappropriately. And it couldn't be further from the truth. She said, I talk to everybody. I'm just a friendly person. And she said, if Amber Heard had wanted to hug me, I would have hugged Amber Heard too. So it's just really kind of sad to me.
Yeah, David, thanks. Even Franco doing the Oz, the Great, the Powerful, is such a depth, sloppy seconds. There's this thing, and I've always felt this, and it's been going on for years, and has been like, who's the next Johnny Depp? And there's all these doppelgangers that are like 10 years younger than him, and they're coming along, and nobody can quite do it. Nobody can quite take his charisma is all to him. There is no other John. That's what makes him so great. And Franco was one of these doppelgangers they would try to position in that way, and thank God it's failed miserably. He can't get if there's such thing as the cancel culture, and I'm happy about it, he's the one I'm happy about.
Mm-hmm.
Go away.
Me and Linda, I don't know if you can tell, I'm losing my voice. Okay, I've been losing my voice for 3 days. I'm supposed to be flying home today. That's why you're working for me today.
I'm happy with it.
And I appreciate it greatly. I don't have a stitch of makeup on. I'm supposed to be on my way to the airport, but I just was so appalled by what's happening to Judy, and it was getting worse and worse throughout the night that I was like in the morning meeting this morning, I told them we have to get this on the air. We can't let this sit. And the woman who took the video, I know who she is. She goes by House and Habit on Instagram, and she actually sent Judy an email apologizing to her, basically because she felt this was a beautiful moment. And that's why she wanted to post it. And she said, this is wrong, what's happening to Judy. And she said, I cannot apologize enough for all and any hassle this has caused you, as this was my fault, failing in my discretion. I will absolutely write them offering further clarification. And she just expressed her admiration for Judy. You'll recall Judge Ascarati said to her, you're a rock star. And everybody, myself included, everyone in that courtroom, with the exception of Amber Heard, applauded Judy last week. We all clapped for Judy. So it's just really terrible what's being done to her. And I think people just need to stop. They need to cut it out because she didn't do anything wrong. She can't massage the record. She had people there assisting her, helping her as she was typing up the transcript. They're going through it to make sure there's no errors whatsoever. So I just can't emphasize enough. People have trusted us to bring them coverage of this case. around the globe. And we have said repeatedly, we are humbled by that. We appreciate it. We knew how important this case was. And we do the same with every case that we try to play it straight. We don't even try to play it straight. We play it straight. If we see something.
Is there any worse feeling than thinking you triggered this poor woman, this poor sweet woman getting shit online or just hated on by these crazy Amber Heard vultures that are out there looking to take down anybody who's pro Depp? Is there anything worse than that?
Well, the people that are doing it don't care.
Yeah, I know, but when you look at that woman, it's like we got to draw the line in this. Like, so you're like
have no
taking her.
line.
Yeah, I think as long as Karate has got her back, you're good.
Nothing's going to happen to her professionally, but yeah, just unfortunately she has to stay off like social media, which I doubt she even does. But it's a group of maybe some of the weirdest girls I've ever come across online.
Brian Janu, welcome, sir. Good to see you. You're absolutely right. It's good entertainment. We can use this entertainment for our show and gradually see as this tide is where these little by little there's some succubus supporters are kind of leaking out. So this is going to end here.
Thing we think is wrong, we say it. If we see something we think is right and good, we say it. We are unvarnished and honest. And I just couldn't stand by and let this pass throughout the weekend. It's insane what's going on, and people really need to leave Judy alone.
Yes, Judy Bellinger is a hero, and she is a worker, and she's working hard for all of us, for all of you. And if you don't like it, it's because you have some sour grapes going on here. But there's also
spot on. And she's privately contracted, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So she kind of just did. What'd she say she was moving on to? Like a pretty
next up was
thing?
she was gonna do like work for the military at Guantanamo Bay.
Yes. Hero.
So she
indeed.
travels around the country.
Speaking of heroes,
Thank you.
Nicholson. What the heck? Don't fuck with this Marine. Was it Nicholson said that in A Few Good Men? You should
something like that.
When I hear that now, I think of Judge Askarati, former Marine, and that is no joke. I couldn't hack it with this horrible vision and ADHD. She's got some pedigree. If you look at, they chose really wisely when they chose her and they chose his legal team. What do you want to do next? Let me see here. We have
first thing I want to do. I want to give a warning. My cat just took a dump in the litter box. When she does that, she likes to scream about it as she walks through the house. So if you hear bellowing, that's just her being proud of what she left behind for me to scoop out later.
Remind me next show to go after Sharon Osbourne's opinion on this. I've never seen someone who is. She actually is fairly. She's a friend of Depp. Depp almost played. Remember, there was an Ozzy Osbourne documentary, and Depp was going to play him, and it just kind of never went anywhere. It was a constant, insistent rumor, and he knows every British fucking rocker affiliate. So they're friends, and she actually says they abused each other, but she's pro Depp, but not really. Next time we'll play it. She was on Piers Morgan.
That's such a pussified, stance. Please.
It wasn't pussified, believe it or not, because she kind of owns both sides. It's not like saying I don't know who to believe. She just says I got to play it for you because you got to with your own ears, and you can just give me an opinion on how she frames it. Sharon Osbourne can be a total pain in the ass sometimes, and she actually got my Nubian queen Holly Robinson fired from that View knockoff, The Talk, which I'll never forgive her for. And she actually also with Leah Remini, they both went after her. That was good. That was nice to see pushback. I've never seen Sharon Osbourne so rattled.
Again, I'm still waiting though for the evidence of abuse that's not reactive from him. So show it to me, and I'll buy the mutual abuse thing.
Okay, so this is this is a priority. So OJ, the Fred Goldman, Ron Goldman lawyer's name is what is it, Peter Haven?
Oh, I don't know. Name's not.
And from the civil trial, he weighs in on Court TV and says this is how Depp should go about getting the money from Amber Heard, which I think we need to hear. We always talk about how is he going to collect it. So this is his experience with OJ and the Goldmans.
Is she able to pay a $10.4 million judgment? Oh, no, absolutely not.
Lower it just
asking the question, how do you collect these damages? It's one thing to win the award, but how do you collect the award?
I hate him.
Special guest joining us to shed some light on this subject.
Come on,
he's
give
in
Vinny
Los
a break,
Angeles,
Sarah. Give him a
California.
break.
The attorney who worked for the Goldman family in their civil case against O.J.
Lower your mic,
Simpson. He was
buddy.
chasing O.J. through airports trying to get that money. Peter Haven is with us, and I must let everyone know, Peter and I, friends, went to college together. I think we graduated in like 2000 or something like that, Peter. I just can't remember what year it was. Anyhow, great to see you.
It's great to see you too, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention hello and salutations from our friend and esteemed attorney colleague, Jerry Salerno. He wanted me to pass on his best wishes to you.
Oh,
Good to see
absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. Jerry's my guy. Okay, Peter, let me start here. How do you collect $8.35 million?
It's very hard to do, but I completely agree with the statement of her counsel that she doesn't have the money to pay. The way we would typically try to collect this money is to put a lien or garnishment on her royalty streams from her movies. I would anticipate that she's earning some type of royalty stream from the movies that she's made, regardless of whether she gets any future career opportunities or not. If she owns real estate, we would record judgment liens in any state or county in which she owns real estate. And then if that real estate is ever sold, we would have the right to...
Scott Barlow says, I couldn't believe that kitty, Camilla, could actually take a grumpy in the middle of this podcast.
Yeah, she does, and she's very anti-grumpy after she does it. She's very proud.
What a crazy, complicated cartoon cat you have.
She's very cute. I don't know if this guy's going to get into it here, but I was reading that one thing they could do, Depp could sell the debt to a collection agency, and he'd probably only make about 10 cents on the dollar, but the collection agency would hound her until the day she died. So he could do that if he just wanted to see her suffer for a bit.
He goes over a lot of options here. It's very detailed. I like this segment. At least, I mean, I hope you do too.
have a judgment lien on it and demand a portion of the sale proceeds. They're a patchwork quilt of state jurisdictions regarding homestead exemptions and things like that. But those are the primary means. And I do think that there's a substantial likelihood that this verdict will be appealed, and we have to wait and see what will happen with the appeal.
Well, let's just presume that she doesn't win the appeal and he still has this award. Can he go after future earnings? So let's say she gets a movie part, or maybe she gets onto Dancing with the Stars, wherever she's going to get some money.
Interesting thought by Vinny. What about Dancing with the Stars, Sarah? You think that's in her future? Huh?
Stars.
Yeah, right. It's Disney, so it's anti-Depp. ABC's owned by Disney.
She's not going to appeal because she has to set that money aside. And I was also reading again, I read a lot, that if she appeals, they're going to look at the entire case, and there's a very high probability that they could reverse the judgment against him on her counterclaim. So she would owe another $2 million.
Just going forward with the counterclaim is so expensive she can't hand. I mean, that's probably gonna. Someone's gonna come to her rescue, guaranteed.
The issue too with her, she's bitching about, she's claiming poverty now. The house she was renting in Virginia, in Fairfax, was $22,000 a month, and she needed that for at least 6 weeks. She was putting people up in that house. Who's paying for that?
In Fairfax?
Yeah.
So you're saying $22,000 a month for, what was it, like a huge house?
Yeah, it's a mansion
somewhere
basically.
okay, it's an actual It
was 20 miles out from the courthouse.
I didn't know. Where'd you see that?
It was a video on YouTube. I forget who the
good catch by you.
person was.
If you ever get a judgment, to go ahead, record judgment liens. They can't sell or buy property, says Sunflower Dragon. Hi, Crazy Robin. Your debt gets sold all the time, including the U.S. debt to China. If that can happen, Amber can definitely get her gone after.
Okay. I would rather have Depp
Can Johnny Depp go after
than a collection agency. That the debt
You'd rather have Depp come after you than a collection agency? Yeah, I would too. He'll eventually. I mean, I don't know. He seems possessed on this. Will he get bored and tired of the whole thing and just want to move on and Let us never speak of this again. Welcome,
One
Nick, Mr. Roustabout.
Yeah, Nick. One argument also on Twitter that I saw was, she has a child, and if he's a real man, he'll just let it go because she has a kid. It's not the kid's fault. Well, he's not the kid's parent. The mother of the child should have thought about all of this. She could have
Yeah.
settled before this even started. She could
Nick
have issued
says,
an apology.
someone needs to repossess those cheek implants.
Yeah. They're probably back alley implants, so they're probably
That's a
leaking by this
Sarah
point.
joke. You must love that line. You love plastic surgery jokes, right?
They're waterbed mattresses in both sides of her face.
I knew you would tag it. I knew it.
That money, and would he be able to get all the money? And my other concern here is at the end of the day, if you've got this judgment against you, can you still
She already got her salary, Maury boy. She got $2 million for Aquaman 2, which is what we believe to be that the judgment when they favored against Adam Waldman in one of the weird things with the Coachella con artist squad in Penthouse 5 and calling the cops. That weird caveat. So yeah, that's
I'm glad you can't pronounce that, by the way.
Coachella?
You said Coachella. I'm so glad you don't know.
No, I know how to say it. I fucked up on it.
No. It makes me happy. Go ahead.
Why? Because the you break the Mr. Feeny.
No, not that, because you're not a Coachella.
Oh yeah, well, I don't
expert,
mispronounce
thank
things
God.
just to mispronounce it, like to be reductive, like Howard does. I might have had a little gaffe there.
take care of yourself, feed your child, keep a roof over your head?
Usually the states have provisions that allow you to keep some portion of what you earn to satisfy basic needs. The short answer to your question is yes, he can go after all those future income proceeds. It's not always cost effective to do so.
Maury boy says Elon Musk will pay it off. Chump change. Yes, it's chump change him. But like Gina Bobina said, there's no lesson to be learned if someone's paying this for her. I think what Depp needs to do is have a paper trail to her that she's paying it and take it from her. That's the only way you teach a lesson. You can't. I was out to ruin his and burn his life down and everybody around him. The only lesson to be learned is that she's paying for this. And I think they need to have some, like an actual paper trail that he can't have anything to do with this. And I think, like Gina Bobina said, it's like serving community service and having 500 hours and saying, no, that's okay. My lemming friend's going to do it for me. I'm too important to pick up garbage off the side of the road.
Yeah.
What lesson would be learned if you didn't have to do the community service yourself? That's bullshit. And then the precedent you're setting. You can just defame someone like that, and someone can pay it off for you, and that's okay. So you're setting a horrible example if you just let some fucking sugar daddy come along. I don't care if it's him or a Saudi Arabian businessman or some Japanese businessman at the Palazzio's strip club in Austin, Texas.
Everyone thinks go after everything, but you have to spend money to go chase those assets and debts. And oftentimes the amount of money you spend isn't worth what you get. And, everyone thinks that it's good to be sort of vindictive and hound people to death, but that's not always the most legally prudent and cost-effective way to go.
Weird.
But what if you have like hundreds of millions of dollars and you're really angry and you're really spiteful? But what you're saying is you'll have to continue to litigate to try to collect the money that you already won in a different litigation.
You've won a judgment, and the judgment says you're the winner, and this person owes you the net of whatever, $8-something million. But it's just like any other bill. If you want to collect, you have to enforce it. The judgment itself is a form of victory, and vindication is appropriate. But collecting it is a whole different matter. And people, in my experience, on a judgment like this, will do anything and everything to try to avoid paying it. And what ideally I think we'd like to see with something like this.
So you hear that, everyone? She's going to duck him. We knew it was coming. I believe every word he's saying. Leo says he should have had Adam or Ben sign an agreement to never talk about him or anything in relation to him or him or lawyers. Yeah, Leo, I don't know if that, that's Depp is not a guy that likes to enforce stuff. I don't think he likes to play. He doesn't want to be the traffic cop. So I think he just let Waldman have total autonomy to go nuts and try to find stuff and dig and dig and dig. And he went nuts, and he did. And he helped him a lot. But he also, I don't think he went over the line. I think it was bullshit. I think they were just throwing them a bone to give him some kind of small victory to look like they weren't too biased towards Depp because of his crazy charisma and all the evidence. And his legal team just eviscerated them.
If in my fantasy world, if I'm him, I have an order, some type of legal order requiring her to sell the house along with a tent delivered to her front door.
She gave, the problem is she gave Depp a pup tent in his pants originally, and that's why we're here.
Is while there is a potential appeal pending, we would presume, or at least assume, that there'd be some discussion of a settlement here. I presume she has some assets, although she probably doesn't have a lot. And I think there's room for these people to try to resolve this. Whether they will or not, I honestly do not know.
Yeah, Peter, look at him right now. No way. I mean, look at him on the screen. There's no way that these two people are agreeing to anything. I don't see it, but it would be in the best interest of, I think, everyone for them to move on to the next chapter, right?
Love gone awry can be a very ugly thing, I'm sorry to say. But yes, you're right. You called it. They don't look very happy together there.
All right, Peter, great to catch up with you. And if I ever retire from here, we'll open up the firm of Salerno, Haven, and Politan. How about that?
We would be lucky. Thanks very much. It's great to see you. All the best to everything. Thank you.
And you're going to be their first client, Sarah. You're going to let Vinny represent you. You would.
No, I don't like Vinny.
David writes, the argument that you have now is you have kids. And so just let it go never holds water. Everyone has kids and have to take responsibility for the cost of adulting, including legal battles.
Yep.
David absolutely was so precocious, so wise for a 33-year-old man. I got to stop saying his age. David's birthday, January 14th, 1988. His new production company, everyone, 114 Productions.
Oh my God.
So Hooper agrees, spot on. They would love to see him in earnings. People like her don't learn lessons, Arm. That's the problem, Maury boy. Absolutely true. Narcissists and egomaniacs, delusional like her, never learn lessons. It's the definition of insanity. Making the same mistake over and over again and expecting different results. Okay, Leo, welcome, sir. She had cheek implants to look like Johnny. She's a square face, and now if you see pictures of her during like Pineapple, Sarah's obsessed with the before and after of her, like Pineapple Express versus it's crazy. It is crazy. Okay, on to the next. Let's go to now. Can she be brought on perjury charges? Which is a question that comes up all the time.
Probably not here, but in other countries, yes.
Yeah, let's see what they say about that.
Can she be charged with perjury?
No.
Go ahead, Sue-Ann. I'll let you finish your answer.
She could be, but it's very unlikely. What the verdict says is that the jury didn't find her credible, just like the UK judge did find her credible. But it hasn't been determined that what she said is a lie. So if there was video showing contradicting what she was saying, specifically the specific incidents of violence contradicting that, then it could be likely that a grand jury could sit down and watch the video and say, you know what, this is completely contradictory to what the video said versus what she said. But it's still, her testimony was found to be not as credible as Johnny Depp's testimony. And that's a different standard, in my opinion, for a prosecutor to actually prosecute someone for a crime.
Andrew Morgan, Sarah says, be careful what you wish for, Sarah.
I know.
She's going to end up in Oregon in that tent right outside your door.
No, it's about 80 yards away, so I think I'll be okay. But
we could film her for a reality show and sell the footage to, right? Couldn't you do that? You could film her and sell it to Harvey Levin.
Make some coins, but I'll take the kid off our hands. She doesn't really want that kid anymore, so I'll take the kid off our hands and give it a good life.
How do you think that kid would react to that crazy cartoon cat you have?
Oh, she would ride it around all through the house. Camilla, I mean.
Yes. It's too bad. Like, can you alter her name to Camille now? Would you do?
No.
Or is it? Huh? Are they the same name or some variation of it? Camilla and
Variation,
Camille.
but
Okay.
Camilla is royalty in this case.
Crazy Robin, are you 114% sure? That's a great callback. It's a Dennis. Dennis loves saying 112.
Great distinction. Carmen Rowe, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts tonight? I mean, there's a whole bunch of people who want her to be charged, but can she be charged?
I agree with my colleague. I think she could be charged with perjury in this case. It's a criminal offense. I think it's a felony in Virginia, but the likelihood of those charges is not great. And the reason is because we haven't dead to rights.
Look at the Frank Sinatra picture in the background.
I know, I like that. But
Everyone's obsessed with like mug shots like that. Howard's old studio used to have the Larry King mug shot.
Yeah, well, it makes you seem like you're a badass. Look at the frame it's in. It's so stupid. It's cringy.
And make her clean the side of the highways, Sarah. And you could sideswipe her, says Crazy Robin.
No, I would just. What would I do? I would like throw something at her, not to injure her, but just something demeaning.
How about a trident?
I could throw one of Camilla's little grumpies at her.
An Aquaman trident. The kid and her bread and butter. Now I see why. She put the crazy into Robin. Amber has to spend the rest of her life making sure no one puts her baby in a microwave. Says Kevin Cowan. Yeah, that microwave shit is great. Whether it's Depp and the dog and which we just think everything she does now is stolen from some story. What was it? So I had Disclosure. So that's another show. Anybody gets a chance, watch the movie Disclosure. It is reverse sexual harassment. It is eerie how similar everything is to this trial. And this really underrated character actress, Roma Mafia, plays a version of Camille Vasquez in it. And this is what now? You know the movie, right? It's 28 years ago. Can you believe that?
Yes, I can. I feel it.
Michael Douglas and Demi Moore.
It's a great movie. A pregnant
caught her in a lie. And so somebody can go back through all these transcripts and maybe it's there, which it was in the Furman case, in the OJ case. He made clear statements to a lawyer who was putting him into a box, who was trapping him, knowing that he had evidence to show that these statements were lies, and got him to commit to them, to make sure he understood the question, to give him an out. He didn't take it. And I think that's why those perjury charges stood and why they probably would not stand with all of the varied stories and facts that were not credible, but may not have been outright lies.
Molly Palmer, can she be charged with perjury for what she did in that courtroom in Fairfax?
By the way, I'm getting this thing now with like where perjury is like, I don't know, not even shoplifting. It's less. Nobody can seem to get convicted for perjury. Everybody just lies over and over again in every situation. Right? You never get it right.
The only time you're going to be convicted for perjury is if you're defaming or lying to the IRS.
Isn't it supposed to be really serious? We're taught
the FBI.
When we're very young. It's really, really serious. And all those Trump stooges lie over and over again to Congress and all these authority figures and everyone purges all the time. I guess you're just allowed to do it. Everyone just lie in court. Nothing's going to happen to you.
I haven't seen a greater case of perjury in a very long time than this case. And nobody can really guarantee she would even face it. So
I know, and it's all proven over and over again. It's just crazy. You can't have more evidence.
And there's essentially a video of her, of the lies.
Yeah, there's a zillion. I don't even know where to start with her lies.
I know.
It's so easy. Just dive into any portion of the trial, even if you're a novice to it.
Do you know why she would never be charged with perjury?
Because she's a woman.
You got it.
Okay.
Fairfax County, Virginia.
Look, Vinny, you know as well as anybody else, prosecutors can charge almost whoever they want anytime. That's how I feel, at least. But I will say that there's a big distinction here when we look at Mark Furman and the OJ trial versus Amber Heard and a civil trial. First of all, we have a very different standard of proof, right? A civil trial is by the greater weight of the evidence, a preponderance, whereas criminal is beyond a reasonable doubt. But when it comes to actual perjury prosecutions, and what made Mark Furman's prosecution, I think, different was this. Usually, when they go after you for perjury, it has to do more with obstructing justice, lying about the crime. Usually it comes from a criminal case, and a witness is charged because they lied to obstruct justice in that case. This is a little nonlinear. And interestingly enough, when Mark Furman was sentenced and given probation, that was kind of performative, I think, in terms of the LA District Attorney's Office. But they gave him probation because the court said, look, this isn't really typical. He lied on the stand, but it wasn't about the substance of the case. So we're going to go light on him. So here we have lies that I think, interestingly enough, might be somewhat about the substance of the case, but it's a civil case, a different standard. So she could, but will she? My vote is no.
All right. You all may be too young to remember, but I remember Lil' Kim got prosecuted for perjury.
What's your favorite song? What's your favorite Lil' Kim song, Benny? Sing it.
Yeah.
That's Biggie's girlfriend, right? That's Christopher Wallace's
one of them.
Yeah, that was. She got cheated on. I like some Lil' Kim. I think she's from the same area, Brooklyn, Clinton Hill, which is pretty much Bed-Stuy.
Criminally.
Never
You
want
guys
to
are
see her
too
in
young.
Stacey's again.
Too young. All right. So I asked you, can she be charged? Now let me get to my next one. Should she? Should she be charged with perjury? I'll start with Carmen on this one.
Absolutely. If somebody goes through this testimony and finds that she lied for the purpose, as Molly said, of obstructing this civil litigation, I think there's no question. We've talked about this before on this show. People who lie in court or to pursue charges against another person, in my mind, are some of the worst offenders in our justice system, and they absolutely should be charged.
I was thinking of someone else. It's amazing. It was such a big case. I can't remember how it all turned out. I don't think it turned out well. But I did not have sex with that woman, Ms. Louise. Somebody said that. I don't think it turned out well for him. Should she be charged, Molly?
Well, I generally don't like people to be charged with anything, but
Okay.
I will say, I don't like Amber Heard. I'm with the rest of America on this one. And I think what's interesting is that sometimes prosecutors, well, we do know that they hand select their cases, right? There's a lot of selective prosecution going on. And I think, what if they want to make an example about somebody who used so many courtroom resources? This was a 6-week trial, And it wasn't like she was just defending herself against the plaintiff, Johnny Depp. She brought a countersuit. So maybe we have an incentive of a district attorney in Virginia to say, you know what? This was such a waste.
Look at that group hug up top. Look at the difference in legal teams. Look at how close. I mean, his bodyguard's in there. The Jeff Fisher hockey hair mullet right in the middle. Look at how close. Look at how tight everyone is.
He
What
left
a
his
fun-
bodyguards behind to cover these people.
I mean, they make you want to become a lawyer, right? I mean, looking at that scene and watching this, and then them in action as a team, they make you want to become a lawyer.
Of resources of our state that our state deserves to see her.
Yeah, Maury Boy. I'm no lawyer, but isn't lying on the that's what we're talking about, Maury Boy. I thought it was a huge no crime and bad thing to lie under oath. Apparently not.
I would be
From all I've seen the last 5 years, you're allowed to do it all day and all night.
Yeah, I would be scared to death because I would think I would go to jail like immediately after I leave the stand if I lied.
Yeah, right. There's just no fear. You have a hubris and you have no accountability and you've never been called on anything or have any consequences. That's someone who just lies and lies and lies. I would love to see a Howard trial, how reflexively he lies. It was great just watching him in that press conference, that kind of the CBS thing with Moonves was that's what Howard would look like in court. It'd be the greatest thing ever if he got Amber Hearded from Beth.
Prosecuted.
And
I can envision that.
And Suarez, she also went to court to get that restraining order, right? I mean, that's another thing. So should she be charged with perjury?
I think that if someone went through this transcript, we would find a lot of crimes, including Johnny Depp and his jar of cocaine, the shrooms that.
Yeah, I mean, I always say this too. Nick writes, now you sure. Vinny goes, now you shorties may be too young to remember my homework. Lil' Kim, these guys are insufferable. And what this woman saying here is like, I'm always like, if you're the LAPD or the Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA, all this drug talk, it's like, is your job to follow your leads to Pablo Escobar? If you heard Depp, wouldn't you just have guys parked outside Sweetser waiting for his assistants to leave and just follow them to the source? I mean, is that just not, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be Tom Hansen or Donnie Brasco to figure that one out. Right? I mean, what, am I crazy, or isn't that their job? There's all this drug talk. What is their job? Isn't this war on drugs? I mean, aren't you supposed to follow your leads? Isn't that the very definition of a lead? This fucking trial. It's like, what? You know what I mean?
I still
You
think they have
can't.
bigger fish to fry.
I don't think so.
I do.
To
I'm
his
right.
source, whoever Depp's source is, you don't think that's the case?
No,
I mean,
they'd
this
go
guy
after
makes.
Nathan. They wouldn't go after Johnny Depp.
Amber Heard admitted she smuggled into Australia, and apparently she smuggled some dogs into Australia. So I think that the transcripts are wrought with crimes, whether or not the prosecuting agency.
Thank you, Crazy Rob. Little Kim was one of his side piecers. Side piece. Biggie made Faith Evans the wife and Charlie Baltimore as the other side as well, all at the time. Thank you, Crazy Robin, for the Christopher Wallace lineage and history lesson.
Wait, no. I'm asking you, should they? You're a former prosecutor. Should they? Is this the kind of situation where we should be bringing perjury charges against someone that we believe has lied on the witness stand?
I don't think this is a scenario where she's been caught dead to rights, as my.
That's a real quote, CB. Never underestimate the power of denial. Ricky Fitz in American Beauty. Wow, I haven't seen that movie in such a long time. Kevin Spacey, right? That's a great quote. I like that, CB.
Colleague said in a lie. I don't think she was found to be a credible witness, and that is a completely different thing. If I'm the prosecutor and I'm looking at it, I'm not prosecuting her for perjury, possibly for smuggling, possibly for the drug use, possibly for all the other crimes they discussed that were overlooked during the course of the trial, but not necessarily the perjury, just because the standard is different in a criminal case.
That is such an important part of this, Carmen Rowe, and we can't just brush that over. Let's put a highlight on it, because Sue Ann is making the biggest point, I think the most important point here. If this jury found that she lied, but the standard to prove perjury is you have to prove that lie beyond any reasonable doubt. In this case, the lie was like that.
Brian Janu says Depp has some kind of legal immunity for the drug stuff, some lawyer said. Where'd you see that, Brian?
You have immunity from what you testify to also.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
Legal immunity or something?
That's what he says. That's what Brian says here.
Yeah, I forget what the word is for it.
But that's that's really interesting. I mean, I still, if I were the DEA and I were the LAPD and I was in the drug enforcement agency and division, I would be fucking. I would be sitting outside Sweetser, waiting for that gate to open, that Tim Burton gate. I would anyway, but wait for that Tim Burton gate to open, wait for Nathan Holmes or Stephen Deuters to leave, and just trail them wherever they went. And I'd have the source. That's what I would do. That's a Tom Hansen move. That's what Tom Hansen would do. That's what Officer Hansen from 21 Jump Street would do.
For part of the case, and then like that for the clear and convincing. This was the greater weight part of the case. This was the clear and convincing, but beyond a reasonable doubt is like this. I mean, it's a way different standard. So for a prosecutor to bring it, they've got to be able to bring it in court.
I need Vinny.
Yeah, Vinny, it's got to be material, and it needs to be an intent to deceive. And so those are going to be really hard to prove in this case, because as you said, we have a myriad of stories and versions of things and perspective issues and things like that, which is why you would have to go through the transcript, find an isolated fact that you could actually show she intended to deceive this jury with, and that it was material in order to even get to the elements of perjury in Virginia.
Okay, now reality check. Will she be charged? Molly, do you think she'll be charged?
With perjury?
Yes.
No, I don't think she will for this trial because of all the reasons that we talked about. But I mean, Sue Ann has made me think that maybe there's a lot of other charges that could be forthcoming. So I don't know. No for perjury. No for perjury.
All right. So no one here thinks that she actually will be charged with perjury. Whoops. Yeah, no, I agree.
No. CB writes, someone here in the chat once said that there's something called implied unspoken immunity, if I remember right. I bet you that was John O'Reilly, CB.
Litigating immunity or something like that? I don't know.
It could have been John O'Reilly, who's always Got
It's
every
not just this trial, though. It's this story. And that's why he sued her eventually. But it's just this weird, psychotic story she's
and they knew it
created.
all was going to come up. I mean, when they were plotting the trial for years, they knew
Yeah.
this was all going. They got in front of the drug stuff on the drugs and the drugs and the drugs and the Marilyn Manson. Oh my God, with the drugs, he knew, and so he got in front of it from the day he took this first day he took the
Yep,
stand.
as he should have.
I agree
The dog
because
smuggling, yes.
there you go, and that's down in Australia. So we're you know.
Well, and Vinny, to Molly's point, the people looking for a pound of flesh on perjury may get it in Australia because that case is still pending, as I understand it. So that may put a little less motivation behind a prosecutor's office who's upset with the waste of resources.
She's talking about the dog smuggling case,
Yeah,
which has been going on for
Barnabas.
years, and if anyone saw the
whatever.
yeah, Barnabas Joyce. Barnaby Joyce?
Jones. I think it's Jones.
Joyce, not Jones.
Oh, okay, you're right.
There's no Rooster Sideburns. Yeah, there's no incentive to tell the truth in court. I know, right? There's not. There's literally no incentive. You're so right. And that's what people are going to start getting from this trial, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things you can glean. I think the courts want to be just done with all of this, says Maury Boy. I'd love for that to happen. We know who the big drug dealers are. We aren't going after them to stop them. The flow of 40-year in the war on drugs has shown us
the government
really
makes
don't care.
too much money off of the
Incarcerating them, having you in the system.
Well, that, yeah.
Right? That's why I feel I have a little conspiracy theory that the society, we talk about gas prices and stuff, how they don't want public transportation to be too convenient. They like when you drive drunk. They want you in the system. They want your fine money. They want to tow you. They don't want you to. I think they like when you fuck up. If everybody just behaved all the time, what would happen?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If everybody just did the right thing, nobody went through a red light, nobody had a drunk drive, they'd have no fine money. They're never going to have a solution for it. They don't want public transportation to be too good because they want you to fuck up behind the wheel. I truly believe that. Vehicular manslaughters and Matthew Broderick in Ireland be damned. They want you to fuck up.
Agreed. As always.
In Virginia.
Okay. All right. We've got more to talk about tonight. Think Tank with us.
So Melvin says, you love the think tank. You want to be on Benny's think tank. You want to be on Benny's think tank. Just admit it.
I want to hold Vinny under the water in a tank. But
Melvin writes, I think Melvin's research is masterful. Use and the derivative use of immunity protects the witness from having the prosecution use their statements or evidence discovered from their statements against them. Thank you, Melvin. That explains a lot. Essentially, this produces the same result as if the witness invoked the Fifth Amendment privilege. And then, we're learning everything every day during this trial. We learned so much.
You learned it from Camille.
Yeah, we learned it from John O'Reilly too, and Melvin's research, and everybody. Sunflower Dragon. Also, they brought in fake evidence. True.
Yeah.
Can we have Bon Jovial cover the case as a live correspondence? That's a great idea. I've actually asked him that, Crazy Robin. When I first met Bon Jovial, like I'm always opening up. Like I'm so obsessed with Depp's world that the first thing I said to him was, "What's going on with the dog trial? Can you?" I was like, "What?" It's the first time we spoke, and I launch into this thing about like it was just such a.
I can hear
insane.
that.
Yeah, I did. He'll probably back it up.
Why haven't you sent him off to the Australia house to take photos and grab a blade of grass?
CB goes, I got a pound of flesh for your toots. Come on. Oh! Sabotage. William Shatner. You say sabotage? I say sabotage. Depp had a little William Shatner to him. He's like the Hunter S. Shatner, Hunter S. walk and speak with the pauses. I did not Montreal. I'm working on it. He's talking about taking phone calls for the Deppening with like a burner phone.
Is it
we
free?
Should do that. Well, he's got like a $20 burner phone. You just use it for this. 5 minutes.
You hook it up. I don't know how you would do it, so have fun.
She killed off her BFF in an accident, moved to California.
That's a rumor, yeah.
Courts make big money. They sure do, Rooster. I have a full-time position to anybody if you're available. Thank you, Maury. Cities rely on all tickets and towing. Yes, they do. Crazy Robin, thank you. Like, what would happen if everyone just behaved all the time, right? Nobody did anything wrong. Just 2 weeks. They'd go crazy. They wouldn't be able to. They just start instituting new things, new laws that you'd hopefully do something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe you did arm. What did I do? What did I do? Help me
Talked
out.
to Bon Jovial the first time about.
Yeah. That's the first thing. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you, Crazy Rob. Yes, I brought up the Depp dog smoking thing before I even said
Did he
hello.
have to hang up on you eventually?
No, we would just. It was before that first Shuley show. Remember the first Shuley show he did when he sat in? He's obsessed with eviscerating Shuley, and like he didn't even say hello, and I'm asking him about the fucking dog smuggling. That's I'm like insane. Camille and I would be up all night pillow talking about legal loophole.
That what
Melvin,
you
you never run
legal
out. They'd find something else to screw you on. Yes, they would. Thank you, Sarah. All right, next video. To prosecute someone, you need evidence. Testimony is not evidence. Bring a prosecution. It's discussing how many things they screw John Q. Public on. Yes, Scott Balo. Okay, next one.
When we come back,
let's go with what does Sarah want to see here?
I don't even know what's left.
There's a few things left. How about my narration of let's go back to Mr. Feeny. So now what's going on now? We were talking about Mia Farrow before, and apparently Ed Norton, who is a total prick. He is one of the biggest pricks in Hollywood. If anybody follows the great deceased comedian Patrice O'Neill, he has a story about Ed Norton when he played a bouncer on the 25th Hour. He says he's the biggest prick he's ever met in any capacity. And there was an article, I couldn't find it. It was like comparing Depp with the regular people and Ed Norton on a film set. And it's very much similar to what we did with DiCaprio. So Ed Norton is on the feminazi train. And this is a piece in Newsweek about Amber Heard's throngs of supporters now that are popping up as days go on. Ready?
These are people who did not watch a minute of a trial.
This is Mr. Feeny, and I kind of did a Newsweek thing, and I fused it. So
Newsweek magazine. Amber Heard support grows slowly in Hollywood after Depp trial verdict by Molly Mulshine. Now that a verdict has been reached in the Johnny Depp defamation suit against Amber Heard, some celebrities are coming out of the woodwork to show support for Heard. The 6-week trial gripped the world as it was broadcast live whenever court was in session. Depp sued Mia Farrow and Edward Norton. Join the growing list of celebrities who support Amber Heard after the chilling verdict.
Thank you, CB. That's a great point. If you behave, they just create new laws to trip you up. This happened to free slaves. Normal people who happen to be black were now in public just existing. So now they invented a weird law called loitering. Oh, that's right. That's so funny, CB. It reminds me of a Jackie Martling joke where they were at some modeling thing and they were promoting. It was a trio of supermodels promoting Estee Lauder, and Jackie called it Estee Loitering.
With the defamation trial ending and the jury ruling in favor of
Agreed,
Johnny
Scott
Depp
Bailo.
against Amber Heard, celebrities are expressing their support for Heard now. Mia Farrow and Edward Norton both expressed their support for her after her legal quarrel with Johnny Depp. The sentence was read on Wednesday, June 1st. Depp received support since the trial began, including the likes of Paul McCartney, who showed photos of the former Captain Jack Sparrow on screen during his performances. An ex-girlfriend, Kate Moss, who once spoke in a...
Yeah, right, Crazy Robin. F you, Newsweek. What is going on with these mainstream publications just getting it wrong and willingly getting it wrong if the woman's always right? If there's anybody that can beat this system and cycle, it's Johnny Depp with his superpower of unearthly charisma. I mean, what are they thinking, Sarah?
I think this is all just this flash of believe all women. I think in terms of her, I think it's temporary.
But Newsweek.
I know.
You know, like, what could you possibly sully? I mean, we talk about one of the things coming out of this is like the credibility of People, and not that TMZ had any or whatever, but like People magazine and Newsweek, like they just look ridiculous. I think we're looking at the end of mainstream media. I mean, honestly, they're just all wrong all the time.
Viral moment. In stark contrast, support for Heard was somewhat muted. For example, his Aquaman co-star Jason Momoa deliberately decided to like the post-trial messages on Heard and Depp's Instagram pages, which implies that despite being friends with Heard, he is not on the side of anyone. Even his important friends, such as Margot Robbie and Cara Delevingne, have remained silent about the trial. However, the tide appears to be turning as some of Hollywood's celebrities are now openly defending the actress. Mia Farrow struggled with her spectacular custody fight with Woody Allen, who married Farrow's adopted daughter for dating her for years. Farrow published a New Yorker article titled "The Depp Heard Verdict is Chilling" by Jessica Winter.
I don't get
Domestic
it.
abuse victims who are following the outcome of this trial may feel disbelieved, ashamed, and ostracized, according to Winter's piece. Meanwhile, actor Edward Norton enjoyed a tweet from film critic A.O. Scott that said men have to be honest about what happened here. The tweet includes a link to an editorial in the New York Times titled "The Actual Malice of the Johnny Depp Trial." Amy Schumer, on the other hand, appeared to be defending Heard before withdrawing her support.
So now we got this gaggle of Mia Farrow isn't she supposed to have some kind of journalistic integrity, Sarah? And she's lumping what she's essentially doing is trying to lump Depp in with Woody Allen.
I know.
In a sense. I mean, let's face it. So Ronan Farrow, who's supposed to be this bastion of journalistic check your sources integrity, this rabid dog for the Me Too movement, he's greenlighting this. He's watching this. He sees the evidence. What's going on
I
with
don't
these
think
idiots?
he's commented at all on it.
No, I don't think he has either. I think he's afraid to have his mom's back.
I don't get how she's so unaware. I've always liked her. She's always been kind of kooky, but I've always liked her.
Yeah, I want to like her. I know, but it's like this, and she's totally, the Woody Allen stuff. He's hideous, a hideous monster, and he's gotten away, and Hollywood still comes back to him, and that needs to come up. It's in the worst way, and yet she sullies it with this shit.
Well, it's like
What is she doing?
She read the headline that he won, and she's reacting off of that, but she's not because he called her a cunt. So she's not aware of anything that happened, in
Yeah,
the
she's not even following the
trial.
trial. I know. How could you imagine commenting on this publicly without watching the fucking thing?
Mm-hmm.
This with all the layers to it and all the evidence.
Just,
could you
just
imagine?
Be quiet.
That goes for Howard. That goes for any of these dunderheads.
Nobody's asking for Mia Farrow's comments on this, or Bette Midler.
Anybody that doesn't follow it.
Or Kathy Griffin. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Kathy Griffin's on. Believe all women is clearly named to purposely divide men and women more than they already were. Well said, Scott.
Yeah.
Crazy Robin refuses to see Depp as a victim, period. And only she can be and never be. That's so good, Crazy Robin. Only she can be.
I've got 5 minutes of one audio I want Mia Farrow to listen to. And then at the end of
That's it. One little clip.
She can tell me if she still wants to write that same article again.
That's it. One little clip.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all. I'm not saying listen to the whole. Let us cherry pick. Just one thing. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell the world.
That's not even the strongest one.
It's not even the strongest. I'm just going for the obvious.
Yeah. You there?
Goes on to say the Johnny Depp verdict is chilling. Many victims of domestic violence who watch the trial will likely conclude that if they share their experiences, they will be disbelieved, shamed, and ostracized. As Mia Farrow tweets, on June 2nd, Schumer posted a screenshot of a quote from feminist icon Gloria Steinem stating, "Any woman who chooses to behave like a full-fledged human should be warned that the armies of the status quo will treat her as some kind of dirty joke.
Was that a human?
She will need her sisterhood of hers."
Oh my God.
The tweet soon attracted media attention with readers and the.
Do you feel like when Amy Schumer and people that in the chat, that the plagiarism shit with her is insane? There's like these insane plagiarism montages of Amy Schumer ripping off insane material from everything she's ever done, from stand-up specials to her sketch show to God and everything else. So do you think this feminazi thing got stronger when the plagiarism stuff came? It was like a deflection
I
away
don't know
from the
what she's
plagiarism.
doing.
Doesn't it seem like that she tried to become
Yeah.
this female going to Washington rallies, that she tried to turn it? We all know that Chuck Schumer's her uncle, whatever, but nevertheless, doesn't it seem like she tried to turn this on thick when the plagiarism stuff was so strong that this is just going to become like a deflection away from what she really is?
Yeah, she doesn't believe this.
No. I don't think so either. She was trying to be one of the guys. And when she said in Opie and Anthony days when she would sit in for full shows and she was
Oh,
one of the
yeah.
regular, and then she defected as soon as Howard had her in. She dropped them like a
Of
bad
course.
sitcom.
Now she's
And
starting to
she-
look like
God,
Patrice O'Neill instead of just stealing
right.
his jokes.
And she did. That's one of the many
Mhm.
people she stole from.
Oh, and Kathy
Who
Griffin.
believed it was intended to show
Yeah, I have her audio
Oh,
too.
okay, then we'll shut up then.
That's it. No, it's coming after this.
support for her. She also posted on her Instagram, "For your information, I haven't seen a second of this process in the trial. Can we perhaps work to put an end to gun violence first?"
Like she's worried about gun violence.
TV celebrity Padma Lakshmi seemed to agree, commenting word, and Naomi Watts posted a succession of hands up and heart emojis, while Julianne Moore reacted with 3 hearts. Actress Julia Fox was reprimanded online in May for claiming that Heard was unable to actually abuse Depp due to his physical and financial strength compared to her. Singer Aubrey O'Day labeled Fox's claim as absolute garbage, but Fox did not retract it. Julia Fox writes, "Wrong. She never had the power in that relationship to be abusive to him.
Oh, my
Did she
God.
hit him? Yes. Was it abuse? No. You need to have power to be able to abuse it. She was 25. He was clearly and was always way more powerful, including physically and
Yeah.
financially." In the early days of the trial, Eileen Baldwin, model and daughter of Alec Baldwin, called Heard a, quote, human disaster, emphasizing her hatred of women who mistreat men. Then she regretted his remarks. "I'm sorry I intervened on the whole thing because the reality is that it's all very sad," she observed in a question and answer session on Instagram. "And I feel bad in different ways for both of us. I was trying to be clear that even men can be mistreated, and anyone who thinks otherwise is an idiot." David Krumholtz, who co-starred with Heard on the 2011 television series The Playboy Club, has
Ooh.
expressed harsh words for
Network
Depp.
television.
"Drugs and alcohol turn men into monsters. I believe in Amber Heard," he said on Instagram. "She is not innocent, but she is a victim, and Johnny Depp's complacency during the trial is sickening to me." The 6-week trial captivated the world because it was streamed live whenever the court was in action. Depp is suing ex-wife Heard for $50 million in 3 paragraphs. In a 2018 editorial written in conjunction with the ACLU and public.
Okay, so this is something to be have your heads up for. There's a whole swath of now Amber Heard supporters that might leak out, and this is good for us because every time we do a show, we can bring attention to them and who they are, and comment and shine a floodlight on them and their hideousness and their phoniness and how out of touch and awful and senile they are. It's one thing. Oh, by the way, we didn't even put her in this. This is for next time. Christina Ricci, right, Sarah? What is that? I have a theory on that defection. So Christina Ricci has been in at least 3 movies with Depp. Fear and Loathing, played Lucy. She was in Sleepy Hollow, and she was in a movie called The Man Who Cried, where Depp plays kind of a gypsy. It's kind of a period piece. It's kind of boring. It came out in, I think, 2000, and they've been on set 3 times. I believe they had a affair similar to what Ellen Barkin, kind of underage Barkin kind of thing. A tryst on a movie. I believe, as Melvin says in Gina Bobina, "Heaven has no rage like love to hatred turn. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned," was the full quotation from William Congreve's The Mourning Bride. And I believe he jilted her on one of these movies. She was underage in Fear and Loathing. She was barely legal in Sleepy Hollow. I believe it was The Man Who Cried. And I think now Christina Ricci has defected on Depp, and she is little things. Apparently, she's married to a lawyer Right. And what's his speciality, Sarah, again?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Nice follow-up.
I don't.
And so this guy is a defamation. I forget what his speciality, but she's married to a lawyer who has don't worry about it, has an axe to grind with Depp too. And they used to be very close, and you could probably find many interviews of them all chummy and complimenting each other, and now she hates his guts. And I believe hell hath no fury as a woman scorned, and that led to the I think Amber Heard turned this into hyperdrive when she found out he was cheating on her, and that's just never brought up enough. The Ellen Barkin thing is another thing. I think it's such a huge component to all this.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of hell hath no fury as a Kathy scorn, here's Kathy Griffin weighing in. People are kind of talking about this. It's sort of trending on Twitter, and this is what she says. This is from some podcast friend of hers. She sounds awful and out of touch. She doesn't watch it. It's exactly as bad as you think it is. And look, I have said Kathy Griffin has been funny in the past. She has gone after things I thought were good. She hits back at Howard sometimes. She's exposed him for stuff, her being on the show, but she is completely attention whore to the tilt, batshit crazy. And you'd think someone who was the fucking Groundlings instructor after Phil Hartman would be a little more clever than her. And remember her and Depp got held out to dry for their Trump stuff all at the same time. She had Trump's head like a decapitation, and Depp had that quote, goes, "Has anyone seen a president assassinated?" And it was like a callback to, I think, JFK or something. But Kathy Griffin, they were kind of lumped in together. So you think she'd have some, but she hates his guts, and it's this feminazi force thing. And could you be more less clever than the Trump decapitation? Can you do? I mean, you're gonna do something like that. Be funny about it. Not just this oafish attempt at comedy, which is what that was.
By the way,
former leader of the Groundlings.
Christina Ricci's husband is a hairstylist and makeup artist.
And
you're a little off.
So he's gay. Is that what you're implying?
That face. Ooh, sorry.
Okay. So you think this is a bearded situation? I mean, a reverse beard?
Who knows?
Whatever the fag
He had
hag.
a kid, apparently. I'm looking at that face on my screen right now. I want to, that ghoul is calling somebody else ugly.
Amber Heard.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Johnny Depp trial is over with, and Johnny Depp won 15 versus 2 million by Amber. And I was wondering what you thought of it.
Well, I am friends with Amber Heard. I completely believe her. I don't even know what the question is. It's actually really disturbing to me as a woman and a lifelong feminist. Also, just, I mean.
Speaking of which, Melvin says, Ronan Farrow is all about bringing down Weinstein. And then, the whole, that story really well, Rose McGowan. And you follow that, right? Do you have all his audio tapes or something?
Yeah.
But it's not okay abuse when it's a woman against a man discussing. So that's what his narrative is always going to be. That's how you figure out. Ronan Farrow's pretty predictable what direction he's going to go in. That's exactly right, Melva.
There's stories have been going around Hollywood about him being an abuser since Kate Moss is the first time I heard about it. And then Winona Ryder, when they were dating, and
she knows nothing.
He had the Winona forever, and then she had her tattoo. I think it was changed to El Diablo over his name, which
it was her and her writers, Gina Bobino. Let's talk about Amy Schumer. She was making excuses that her writers, which she's throwing her writers under the bus, that it was her writers that would take it in all the plagiarism. She was using it in her stand-up. If there's a time to know what you're saying, it's your fucking stand-up. And she's the boss. It all goes through her. They know exactly what they were doing. They all watched Mad TV, and she toured with those other female comedians. She stole them. I mean, it's just verbatim. It is completely impossible to confuse it. There's no parallel thinking. She fucking stole from them. She's a piece of shit.
Is not a good sign. But I will say, of course, I cannot speak for these women, but I have to tell you, I wonder if they just changed their tune because nobody wants to get Amber Hearded. And I say that I am a verb myself. I know that when it comes to, political discourse, nobody wants to get Kathy Griffin
No, Depp is who you're related to. You had the exact same castigation he had in the general public. The thing with Depp, when Depp made those comments about Trump, she had the same decapitate. It's the same. Depp is who you're relating to.
Mm-hmm.
Was very famously canceled and blacklisted and all that stuff. But
I've been Brian Karam'd once or twice in the White House briefing room. I feel you.
Oh, I thought they were going to
Well
physically
said,
chuck
Melvin.
you out a couple of times.
Yeah, they tried, yeah.
Especially Sarah Huckabee. I thought she's a sturdy gal. She could probably take you, Brian. No offense.
Hey, I was a middle linebacker. I think I could hang, but
We don't
like
keep
she
talking about
wasn't.
other people's
All
lives.
right.
Hey now.
Hey now. So anyway, yes, I am taking what is a controversy.
When I hear "Hey now," which is a Larry Sanders quote, I think of Howard Stooges. I think it's some Howard fucking suck up at idiot who still thinks the show is good. When they have to say that you say "Hey now," and I'm supposed to laugh at that dated, fucking tired Gary Shandling reference that Howard beat to death and likes to take a co-op and take ownership of.
Still take for the social media bloodbath that has been this trial, but no, it's very clear to me. It's
That's another good point, Rooster. I don't even think Amber doesn't even like men. She's a lesbian that used men for a career and money. Absolutely. So she can turn it on and off as she needs to. I think there's absolutely no chemical, emotional attachment to men whatsoever, Rooster. I think you're absolutely right. I hate men.
Defamation is something I know a little bit about, and
do you?
I think it's been interesting to watch it go down in a way that has been illuminating, but I think it's definitely going to set women back. I don't know that it's going to kill Me Too. Some of these Me Too women, I know a lot of these Me Too women, and they're very, they're very, I think if nothing else, it's
Crazy Robin says it best. Hey, Gina, Kathy Griffin's just an opportunist. She just exhausts me. That's just so perfectly put. She really is.
I don't want to say it should destroy Me Too, but it should reset Me Too. It
No,
should completely wipe
it needs
out.
to be vetted, resetted and vetted.
It
You need
should completely wipe out Believe All Women. It should hit the reset button at least on Me Too.
And a vetting situation.
Yeah.
Where you have your receipts
Mm-hmm.
that you just can't destroy someone's life. I mean, you can completely burn it to the ground and everything around them. If Depp didn't have the money and resource,
you can't accuse somebody of assaulting you with a bottle and then be performing ballet dance moves the next day.
That's right. I mean, that's just one of the more
how the fuck old is this bitch? Kathy?
Griffin?
60, she looks 80.
62, if anyone wants to look it up. I'm going to use my knowledge of, I'm going to say 62. In a world where you have to call men, women, vice versa, I guess you can call a perpetrator a victim now to fit Amber's personal belief. Well said, Bell. And then, like the vetting system of to show your receipts before you can burn someone's life to the ground. We're all gonna. It's really, but again, it takes someone like Depp's charisma and with great power comes great responsibility, as Stanley said. So he's using it. He's doing so, and he. This has been in the makings for years. If anyone's followed this as closely as I have, and you can go back to the Rolling Stone article and you see him plotting it with Adam Waldman in his castle in London. I don't know if it's London, but it's certainly England. And at the time, with the Stephen Roderick piece. And if you don't have his money and resources, you can't fight this. What happens to the poor bastard who doesn't have his money and resources and charisma? I might add. You're never going to be believed. There's a whole swath of people in jail and people whose lives are ruined. They're in studio apartments where their wife has the mansion. You know all the cliches where they just got everything and they never had a chance. Even if the wife is wrong, she's right.
Yep.
Even when you can prove the wife cheated on him, the guy gets screwed. How many cases of that is there where the wife cheats? And the guy still doesn't have a leg to stand on.
Difficult, but they're grateful to finally talk about their story.
The voice matches the face.
I just think Depp is gross. I think
you're gross, bitch.
Gross. You can't comment on this if you're going to use some flat, oafish, awful, uncreative. Depp is gross. That's the best you got. Depp is gross. She has no knowledge of anything, and she's got a forum to comment on this. Is the worst thing. Maybe as bad as Howard commenting on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anything's that bad. That he has any. They're sending these quotes out to outlets, and they have articles written on it with nothing to back it up.
No. Well, in some of the articles too, they're talking about Jason Momoa testifying for Amber Heard. That was a TikTok video that somebody made as a parody. You
I
remember
almost
that
feel
video?
sorry for Momoa. Because
No,
he's
he's
constantly dragged
fence-sitter.
into this. He hasn't said shit. He's just liked the post, and they want him to weigh in so bad. He hasn't said anything. And there's how many articles have been written? People is like, what's his name? The Umbrella guys making videos about a quote that never has been said. And with big bold print letter, Jason Momoa comments on AH. He hasn't said shit. He hasn't commented. He's not gonna.
You know what those videos are. It's like he'll have that headline, and then Jason Momoa liked Johnny Depp's Instagram post. That's how he, insulted her. No, all right. I'm over the clickbait, and I'm over all of these creators who rely completely on the clickbait, and it works for them. I hate that.
Well, and these charlatans and grifters and con artists will
Yeah.
move on to
They
the
are
next.
to
We're
Marilyn
still going to
Manson.
be here talking Depp. They had no interest, knew nothing about the guy, and are trying to do this Cliff Notes speed learn to grift off the trial and get clicks. We're going to still be here when all these posers move on to Kevin Spacey and Britney Spears and Rust and Al. We're going to still be here talking Depp. That's what we do here.
Yep.
What else we got here? Winding down a little bit. How about you want to see Bretta Hoff with Savannah Guthrie? Elaine?
No, but go ahead and play it.
Okay, so I swore to everybody I would, because I showed you the Gail King one. So this is just, if anybody hasn't seen this, it's just quick.
We are joined now by Amber Heard's attorney, Elaine Charlson. Bretta Hoff, good morning to you. It's good to see you. First question, how is Amber doing? We saw her hearing that verdict. It took a long time to read. It was a sweeping verdict for Johnny Depp. How did she handle it?
One of the first things she said is, I am so sorry to all those women out there. This is a setback for all women in and outside the courtroom. And she feels it, and she feels the burden of that.
Well, knowing the case and knowing the law, as you certainly do, it favors defendants like Amber Heard. Are you stunned that the jury essentially rejected her story?
Well, really what happened here is it's a tale of two trials. Johnny Depp brought a suit in the UK for the same case. And the burden of proof was easier for him there. The son had to actually prove that it was true. And the court found there, and we weren't allowed to tell the jury this, but the court found that Mr. Depp had...
Sarah, you want to weigh in here, or you want to keep playing?
Not the same case. She wasn't even a party in the UK trial. Again, for the millionth time.
I will defend.
All it was, he sued the son. All the son had to prove was they had a source.
I will defend Elaine on one thing. This is her job. This is her job. She has to. She has to save face. She has to save face. She has to say that we got screwed. She has to. Amber Heard. You think she's acting without Amber Heard's approval? By the way, she put her up to this. So now she's doing this kind of save face. What do you call it? A damage control tour, where it's opening the door that we're going to countersue and we're going to win. And she's not going to use her on the next. She's going to use someone else. She'll stay on as a consultant, and she's just doing what she's. We're going to hate everybody that's associated with her. We've hated every witness she has. We hate every lawyer she has. There's nothing the succubus can do that will even. We hate everything about her. So
all Bonnie had to do was release a generic statement saying we are disappointed in the verdict. It's a setback, blah, 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 for all women, and we look forward to the appeal. That's all she had to do. But now she's going on with this scripted bullet point spewing on every show. She apparently was supposed to go on Court TV and canceled at the last minute, saying she had to go into court.
Painter. I have that too.
Oh, okay, all right.
So Lauren Marie says this woman needs to stop giving her opinion on things. She's just irrelevant. Same with Whoopi Goldberg. Lauren, you're so right. There are some women now who, I should say, not women, all people. There are some people on TV that have a forum that just should stop giving their opinion. Is Howard's one of them. Let's throw Howard in there. Antiquated, out of touch. They have no feel for anything. They just can't give you a take. They're bought and sold by a company, or they're just just so zonked out. They've lost all ability to read a situation or be unbiased. They have all these biases and ulterior motives, and they can't give an opinion. And like in the case of like a show like The View, they're always going to a commercial, right? They can't even get a thought out. They're going. It's like I think it's the only show on TV that has more commercials than actual running time. I honestly think it's more. When Howard was on, I recorded it, and I remember thinking it was 28 minutes of content and 32 minutes of commercials. So right, they should never there's some people just hang up the opinion, get out of the opinion business. You've lost all ability to give anything anybody can use or give a take that is productive on any level.
Committed at least 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence against Amber. So what did Depp's team learn from this? Demonize Amber and suppress the evidence. We had an enormous amount of evidence that was suppressed in this case that was in the UK case. In the UK case, when it came in, Amber won, Mr. Depp lost.
But here's the thing, you were able to get some...
Go ahead, Sarah.
They accepted hearsay in the UK trial.
That's right. And they weren't allowed to submit all the necessary relevant evidence. And a judge decides. There's no jury. It's the stupidest system in the world. And that's what he flees to.
The evidence that Depp submitted, all of these audios, even including the Australia audio, was submitted in the UK. The judge disregarded them because officially, quote unquote, she was not under oath at the time of these recordings. Also, she made a statement where he wrote in his decision, she couldn't have thrown a Red Bull can because she was in her pajamas.
That's right. That's right. And she throws like Gary Dell'Abate. Thank you, Crazy Robin.
After the decision was made, he retired and has disappeared.
Good point, Sarah. Crazy Robin, yeah, for sure. That's anyone hacks says hey now anymore. Who the fuck says that anymore? Asshole. Yeah. And Pell, yes, I just clicked on my head. He ruined right. Hey now has been ruined forever. I totally agree. Melvin writes, I love angry ranting arm about hey now. It's why I continue to. I'll try to stay angry, Melvin, just for you.
Evidence that you say demonstrated abuse. You certainly had her testimony. There were pictures, documents, all kinds of.
Sunflower Dragon. Can I tell you my favorite Brian Karam story real briefly about Playboy?
Get me through Bonnie.
Evidence.
I'm dying.
But in point of fact, the jury rejected it. You argued in your closing arguments that if they found even one instance of abuse, and it did not even have to be physical abuse, that they would have to find for Amber Heard, and they didn't.
And the other part to bear in mind here is nothing changed. The op-ed didn't even mention Mr. Depp by name.
But your client testified she wrote it about him.
What basically...
Greta Hoff, good morning to you. It's good.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Your client testified she wrote it about him. That argument has no weight, much like everything else. But also Camille comes back with if she lied about one thing, all you can conclude is she lied about the whole thing.
That's right. But that's all. I mean, we got to a certain point, even for people who don't know what a serial liar she is. We got to a point, and anyone who just tuned in to watch the trial didn't know. You start to really everything she says is a lie. Then you just start to assume that she can't. She's incapable of telling the truth. She exactly right. Borderline person, all the things she is, the sociopath, the borderline personality disorder.
Yeah, and with that comes along the need to make, in her case, her rape was the rapiest rape in the history of rape. It couldn't be just, he held me down and forced himself on me.
That's
he
right.
Grabbed a bottle. Oh my God, there's the bottle. I'm just seeing it. There's my PTSD kicking in. See, I told you I had PTSD.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, thank you, Melvin. So Kathy Griffin's she'll be 62 on November 4th later this year.
She hates all men because no man has touched her in 25 years since the husband who stole money from her that she had to divorce.
Yep.
To see you.
I was in the courtroom and I went on record with that and they couldn't have been influenced by it. And it was horrible. It really
that had an effect on the case.
Absolutely.
You think jurors were aware of it? They weren't supposed to be. They're admonished every single day. Don't look at it. Do you think they did see it?
How can you not? They went home every night. They have families. The families are on social media. We had a 10-day break in the middle because of the judicial conference. There's no way they couldn't have been influenced by it. And it was horrible. It really, really was lopsided. And I appreciate your saying that. It's like the Roman Colosseum, how they viewed this whole case.
Says the same thing
I was
every
against
interview.
cameras in the courtroom, and I went on record with that.
Well, that's why I said when I did the Gayle King interview with Nate Burleson, it was 90% similar, the talking points.
It's
same length, too. Yeah. It's
Roman
virtually the same thing.
Colosseum, Tale of Two Trials.
She'll say the same thing to Chanley Painter, too, when they finally get her on.
I don't think she
court
will.
TV.
I think she had to go into court and she got reamed out.
That could be, yeah. That's the rumor that Askarati reamed her out.
They
Yeah,
haven't even had the
Melvin.
hearing yet to finalize the decision.
Toxic femininity is the thing. You're absolutely right.
Mhm.
Yes, we're going through that now, Gina. Mental health. Okay, let me wrap this up with that.
And had argued against it because of the sensitive nature of this. But it made it a zoo.
Does your client want to appeal?
Oh, absolutely. And she has some excellent grounds for it. We even had tried to get the UK judgment in to dismiss his case because he already had his shot. And that's one of the issues, but also a number
lost his appeal,
of the evidentiary issues. There was so much evidence that did not come in.
Is she able to pay a $10.4 million judgment?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Finally, in closing our...
Well, the question is, then how is she paying you guys? I mean, I haven't brought up, like, okay, well, you can't afford anything. How are you paying this legal team?
Something was discovered, and apparently it's a fact now. So there was the rumor that her homeowner's insurance was paying a part of her legal fees.
Right.
I think the cap is $2 million, but her homeowner's insurance is Travelers. And you know that older blonde woman that would follow her and Whitney out every day and would sit in court? That's an agent with Travelers that was assigned to this case. I didn't either.
How'd you find that out? With your inside information?
It was a good source. Sorry, I'm horrible at
You
that.
never reveal your sources, sir?
I know, exactly.
You gotta,
They came to
don't
me
give
in
them up.
secret.
Thank
But
you,
when she
Crazy
bought-
Robin and Pell. Momoa shouldn't say anything. That's right. That's right.
She bought that desert house by Joshua Tree in 2019, just in time for the UK trial because it was getting kicked off. So Travelers hired Aunt Bonnie and her firm. So that's why her legal representatives aren't really top of the line.
Yep.
Compared to Depp's because they're paid for by an insurance company.
That's great intel, actually, for where it's the money part of her. It's fascinating, and it comes up all the time. Thank you, CB.
Yeah.
A lot of us are going to stick around with you as well. We're going to stick with you. Thank you, CB. Thank you, Paul for the clickbait.
Oh, and I want to pimp your Thursday show. Another episode of Armageddon.
Oh, Thursday or Friday. I'm not sure which.
Okay, whatever. One of those days.
Thank you, Pello. It is my area. Yeah, it's one of the. I'm not. I have my little pockets of senility, and I have things I know. This I know as well as anybody does. I know it better than he does.
And a reminder too. I'm still talking about your show. Armageddon is a more open-based topic.
Yeah, we'll talk more Stern if you want. I mean, I'm not gonna turn it. Not that we don't hear once in a while, but we're actually Sarah and I are planning another Depp versus Stern show. So we are so irritated by Howard's horrible senile take that he has any form. So it just prompted me to go through the years of the flip-flopping on Depp, and it'll feel like a radio gunk. Maybe we'll have Monique sit in to make it feel more like a radio gunk. And I'll just go through the years of Howard flip-flopping on Depp and all the different quotes over the years. And I have so many. I mean, I literally have it logged away in my head. I don't even have to. I mean, I'm certainly gonna look, but I have them, kind of logged away over the years. Right down from Richard Grieco being on the show and Depp getting brought up, stuff like that. You'll really like it. And then obviously Depp did the show in October of 2001. Just a little thing. Depp has tried to be on the show several times. Howard's vacation schedule disabled that. So when you go in to promote a movie on Thursday and Friday, guess who's not there? Taking guests.
Pal has a wrestling question for you on Armageddon.
Johnny Melinda's in Boris. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk wrestling a little bit, but it's going to be Depp. I mean, that's the main thing. And
those are the shows I don't know if I'll be on.
Arguments.
Yeah, you're always going to be the open door policy. I don't think you want to be on. I think you just.
I want you to have more. Well, I can come in for a few minutes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're always going to be
okay.
Omnipresent. The tale of two trials, exactly, Crazy Robin.
Amber's team argued that this would send a message, that it would send a message that no matter what you do as an abuse.
Yeah, Gina Bobina's got a good point. What happens to the PR team during this? Could you have a worse PR team?
Well, her PR manager now, the new one, has sexual assault and harassment charges against him now.
Could you have a worse everything?
Scum attracts scum.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't put it any better. I mean, really, you are who you hang with.
I know Bonnie is now part of that scum after this.
Never has it been embodied more than this trial. You are who you hang
Victim,
with.
you always have to do more. You need to be perfect in order for people to believe you. If she did not get a favorable verdict, what message do you think this sends?
It's a horrible message. It's, as I said, a setback. It's a significant setback because that's exactly what it means. Unless you pull out your phone and you video your spouse or your significant other beating you, effectively, you won't be believed.
Elaine Charles.
Horrible message.
I will never use the word effectively ever again. Boy, am I tired of that word. Holy shit.
I want to bring this up real quick.
Specificity.
If you've ever read or listened to the audiobook of the Ronan Farrow book, Catch and Kill, great book. It's about the takedown of Harvey Weinstein and a few other characters. But
I like when he does his Russian accents.
Oh, that's so annoying.
he
so
tries
cringe.
to show his like theater side. You
so
you got to listen to that for that. You got to do.
Yeah,
it.
I used to go to bed to that book every night. But
you know that book? You went to bed in a little book. You're running right a little book.
If you know who Gloria Allred is, of course everybody should. She's one of the original ambulance chasers.
Yeah.
Her daughter Lisa Bloom is another ambulance chaser who cozied up to Ronan Farrow, who secretly was working for Harvey Weinstein. She cozied up to Ronan Farrow to get information on the victims so she could smear them and make their lives miserable. She has taken Amber Heard's side in all this.
Of course.
And she tweeted, and I got into it with her briefly, but
did you? Wow.
Yeah, I can't stand her.
You got a lot of feuds going on.
She tweeted how and of course, people want to get clout now because it's in the headlines. She goes, I had to tell 2 victims today that unless they had photographs and audio recordings that they just won't be believed. That is first of all, you didn't do that. You never had to do that. Our hero, Andrea Burkhart, responded to her and said, yes, you should be advising your clients that if they're lying, they could get sued. So, but anyway,
Andrea Burkhart is a lawyer who has been following this trial for years, and she's not a super Depp head, but I think she's become one to try to learn about him. Yeah. And she's about as good a legal mind and likable as anybody I've seen. These lawyers trying to grift onto it. She's in a class by herself. I swear, I'm gonna probably try to get her on here because I think she'd do it. I think she'd come on here. She's incredible. Listen, so like effortless the way she blows. She just really has her shit together in every way, shape, and form.
I have such admiration for her. I love her to death.
I did. I stop in my tracks when anytime I see her. She's Andrea Burkhart. She's a YouTube channel now.
Yeah, she is doing an in-depth analysis, no pun intended, on the Isaac Baruch.
Yeah, she's obsessed with Isaac Baruch.
God, good Lord, my brain's fried. Cross-examination by Bonnie, and she picks every line apart. It is so fascinating.
I would imagine her representing you. If ever there's a go-to lawyer, God damn it, there's no way. I mean, the Depp team could have used her. Pinch hitting for fucking Camille.
Yeah, she is a local gal. She is within an hour of me, and I'm so proud.
Pell, if people wanted to hear the dumb opinions from nobody, they'll start how about we need Bill Maher Pell for about hey Kathy, thank you for the dumb opinion, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, what's next? We're gonna wrap up soon. I want to play have a little fun here and Depp playing in the UK possibly, or
whatever you want.
Okay,
that's a good note to go out on.
Did I put medley?
Oh God.
I think I put.
I forgot about this.
Let's look at Depp's tour bus and the craziness in the UK. If you think people there to see Jeff Beck, think again.
We might have to sing over this, right?
This isn't what I want. I don't know how this got in here.
Well, just play it.
Nah, it was just sort of.
Okay.
something better than that.
We mock his guitar playing. I mean, because I wish I could play guitar like that, but his voice isn't horrible.
No, he's got a Sweeney Todd singing voice. He's very masterfully adopted David Bowie and Bono's singing voice, and he does it very well. He's got good pie. I'd rather hear him sing than play guitar. Here's Depp arriving in Manchester.
Okay, hit the volume though.
This is the moment Johnny Depp arrived in Manchester.
They know exactly where.
This is the moment Johnny Depp arrived in Manchester.
They know exactly where he's going to be. They know exactly where he's, and that's as you saw from the trial. That's Malcolm Connolly with the Scottish accent, and Sean Bett, formerly of the LAPD and the gang unit.
He commented briefly on the verdict.
Sean Bett did?
No, Depp. He some woman was screaming, "How do you feel about the verdict? Congratulations!" And he said, "I'm still in shock."
Yeah, that's since I have a medley of him signing autographs.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. That's okay. I'm just trying to figure out what I did. Signs autographs UK. Maybe this is it. I had a whole thing put together of the tour bus and this crazy insanity with the tour bus. What did I do with it? Let's go with this for a second.
Don't smash the kids.
That is kids.
Guys, you stop pushing my gun. Hello. How are you? I don't mind. Okay. Blanket. Okay, blanket. That's good. Yeah. Very nice to meet you guys. Put your fingers. Don't put your fingers in there.
Okay, then we're gonna end this with Depp playing with Jeff Beck in the UK, and I did a medley of Depp singing. So I would kind of jump to him singing, and there's a little guitar in there, but you get to see kind of what they do together. And what I like about this, and I had no excuse leaving that trial to do this, because he easily could have put it off one day. All he did one day. Wilson Phillips, hold on for one more day. And that's all he had to do, and things would have gone his way. But this is a medley. So it's Jeff Beck medley. What did I do with it? What did I do with it? Sometimes. Okay, here we go.
Fun, huh?
No, I'm all right.
I know you are.
This is a song for Miss Hedy Lamar.
Oh, God.
Star, spun out her beauty, trapped by its web. She's a perfect cocoon, twanging gold thread.
You hear the David Bowie? I mean, who can't hear that right there?
Course.
She's the perfect cocoon, Sweeney Todd.
You should sing a little bit over it too, just in case.
Well, I mean, it's a concert. I mean, there's no that's isn't lifted on this.
I don't know. Yeah.
The music a spectacle, her thoughts too pure. The light of her being, her exotic allure. Torn at the seams for daring to dream. It's so hard to speak when you're frozen in. Scream. Yes, it's all that it seems.
Peter
Feels like a dream, but it's life and it's death.
If Depp uses Maker's Mark, her coochie would have needed reconstructive surgery. At least if not a complete transplant at worst.
Yeah,
well said, Crazy
true.
Robin.
Yes, you need to sing. Crazy Robin says, "Sing with Depp Arm, a duet." I agree.
Well, I'll try. I mean, I don't know these that
Just hum.
well.
So much pain, but then again, you're not to blame. You're just a human.
not him
now
playing.
it's not Depp playing. It's Jeff Beck playing. So we tried to figure out where exactly the sound's coming from Depp's guitar. For the life of me, I can't. Any Guitar Heroes nerds, fill me in because I can't figure out where the noise is coming from.
Afraid of the sun. Isolation. The sun will never disappear, but the world may not have many years.
So I was over the weekend. I was going through this. I was making this, and I'm listening to this. For some reason, you get that earworm. I'm listening to this. This is Marvin. This is What's Going On, and I just had the Monty Python Depp pronunciation. It goes Monty Python, Monty Python. So I just was for the entire weekend, and I think Sarah heard me do this too, and I just could not. I'm singing
I laugh
this, and
every time.
Monty Python, Monty Python. I just couldn't. It's a stupid thing we do where you get the earworm and you can't stop singing. So that's what I did all weekend. So in the shower, everywhere I went, in the supermarket, Monty Python.
You're in the shower singing about Monty Python.
There we go. My Python. Okay, I want to hip everybody. Just give you a little Depp prelude to what's about to happen, and I don't want to I don't want to oversell it or get in front of it. He is going to sing this. He's going to sing What's Going On. He doesn't quite know what to do with it because it doesn't work with
it's
the
not
British
really a
accent.
song a white guy should sing.
Yeah, a white guy should be singing at all. He doesn't know what to do with it, so he kind of goes Brit, and then he calls a strange audible, and he backs off on it, and he doesn't know what to slip into. Like, what's the natural singing voice? Because his go-to thing is a David Bowie Bono thing, like he does in Sweeney Todd. So this is easily my favorite part of the whole concert, maybe for all the wrong reasons. I gotta give it, obviously Jeff Beck's great at what he does, but this world's got a lot of great guitars.
Well, his guitar
is a really good
turned all the
guitar
way
riff.
up.
I really enjoyed this guitar riff, I gotta say. He really adds a nice twist to it here. Is that playing? All right. Okay, now you're ready for it. Let's go. So now Depp doesn't quite know what to do with this, and this is Depp doesn't know whether to be black or British, and this is somewhere. This is
I'm just back, but you I would. War is hell. When will it end? When will people start getting together again?
Welcome, Famke shouting. Yes, Andrea is the best. Thank you. And welcome. We're on the 2-yard line here, but I know you go back and listen. We love whenever you drop in, Famke.
Things really get better, like the newspapers say. What else is new, my friend? Besides what I read. Can't find no work, can't find no job, my friend.
I think we're safe on not getting a copyright with his rendition.
I don't know. I'm a little worried, but if you don't hear this in the recorded version of this, that's why we got to.
Money is tighter than it's ever been. See, man, I just don't understand what's going on.
What?
This is fair. I have to say that this is fair use, transformative content.
Yes. Public domain, copyright, fair use, public domain, public domain, public domain. Yeah, we went over that Kevin Cowan. He lied to me. Rewind, we went over that. You got it, Gina.
Fairy tales, all she ever thinks about it. Riding with the wind. When I'm sad, she comes to me. With 1,000 smiles, she gives to me free.
Mackie, to answer your question, he didn't. He sang backup vocals. By the way, if you want, we'll play it sometime. Not tonight, but next time. The 21 Jump Street theme song. He and DeLuise are the ones who go jump. So Holly Robinson sings the theme song, and the two of them are going jump in the back. He sang up backup vocals on the kids, and he's a gifted mimic, and he sings David Bowie style very well. He did not sing solo. I think he might have sang one. No, he didn't sing at all in his first band. We got some old footage of them, the kids in the early. They sent a video to MTV to try to get signed to get a video played on MTV, and we'll play that. I think it was What I Like About You, wasn't it, Sarah? The cover of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised Camille didn't walk on. Right, Sarah? Walk on stage during this.
And
that's
flash
so prime for
flash
that.
her salsa jars at the crowd.
Yeah, Pellel, I think a lot of people would agree with you. He's actually got a better singing voice than I expected. If you hear him, if you ever saw Sweeney Todd Pellel, he's amazing in that. His David Bowie impression of that really hits some notes in that. Really, really. I mean, you sit down and do something if you want. He had enough people working on him. He really, really can sing when he wants. Certain style, not in every way. And he says it's better than Tom Morello's singing voice. I always love when a guitarist tries to sing. And it's just kind of Doesn't Keith Richards sing at some point, like a long time ago? That was weird. I remember seeing him on Saturday Night Live singing. We're not going to do this now. If anybody can figure out what the ticket prices for this cost, I would love to know. It's apparently somewhere called Sheffield. And I would love to know what they charge for this. Kevin Cowie says he'd never paid it. I would love to know what people pay for this and what he gets. And
if only I could go backstage with like a meet and greet for unlimited amount of time, I would pay. That would be it. Not just to see the music.
I think he'd be the greatest executive assistant he could ever have, replacing his sister.
I absolutely agree with you.
I really think he'd be amazing at that. There's a Gallagher reference. Depp can smash a watermelon on stage
Oh my
and
God,
completely
he looks
break
like
John.
Gallagher. Look at him, he looks like Gallagher.
That's crazy. Is that what he's thinking, NA? By saying that? I can't believe that.
In the hair.
Sue Monster, what?
I hate the hat and the hair. The rest I can deal with.
I hope that hair is for Louis the 16th because I've been pissing on that since the trial started. I can't believe that legal team let him get away with that. Tell the emperor's scarves and the emperor's skull rings to cut the fucking hair.
He had great suits though in court.
But I was thinking this today. I was looking at pictures of him in the early '80s in the punk when his old. Speaking of the kids, when his original went there, his go-to hairdo was punk rock short hair. This long hair thing is no. He never had long hair all through the '80s. So this is like a weird. And sometimes it's for a role, but short hair was his default in the hippest rock age of the Hollywood strip. So this long hair thing is not his thing. It doesn't look good on him, and so like I said, his default rock do was the rockabilly punk do in the '80s, and it's way better on. It's not even close. No homo.
Well.
Yeah, there's some John Lennon in there too, CB. Lennon, Bono, David Bowie. As somebody said, Bob Dylan has a little of that. Melvin says there's no way his guitar ran into the board. They probably just ran it into the stage amps and left it at that. You could be right. I can't tell you how much footage I've seen of him playing guitar, and I cannot for the life of me understand what sound he's making. I can never pick it up. Sometimes there's 6 guitars on stage. Tell me why any band needs 6 guitars. I'm waiting.
Melvin found the cost.
Oh God, Melvin. So what?
Way too much to way too much. $42 to $155.
That's not bad in this day and age. In American, 42 American dollars.
Yeah,
155. That's not bad.
I'd pay $155 for backstage and an hour on the tour bus.
Yeah, what does 155 get you?
Tour bus.
Oh,
and some
really?
DNA.
DNA.
Come to me. Burn away all my impurities.
Like a Pink Floyd thing.
So everyone telling me that, let him, they're agreeing with me now after watching this, that he should have stayed in Fairfax. We're turning him around. Tiger Lily, if you're listening, we're turning him around, that he should have stayed. This is what you're fleeing to?
Yes.
Couldn't put this shit off for one day?
Let her have the pressure.
Telling the jury, I guess you're not canceled because you have all this great stuff lined up. The entire country's waiting for you to play. You're not canceled.
Your theory
and you're not
about
good
how
enough.
that would affect the verdict really worked, didn't it?
I think it could have. The jury could have looked at it like, it's not important to you, I guess.
Nope.
Huh?
Nope.
Holy in your
Crazy Robin goes, did you just say Depp's confused about whether he's black or British? Oh, my sides. Or he thinks he's Seal. Speaking of crazy. Though I'm never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. Never survive unless we get a little crazy, Robin.
How much longer we got?
All right, enough. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We're at 3:34 right now. I love you all for hanging with us. We are coming back. I think there's Radio Gunk tomorrow night. So 6:05 Pacific time, 9:05 Eastern Standard Time. Monique will be back. Can't wait for this dumpster fire to be over. We could do some great theme shows like the Jason Kaplan show and Casey Armstrong and the fucking rotating Jackie chair show. Go over all the comedians that sat in through those years. You heard Richard Johnson tonight. So I love everyone for sitting with us during this.
Real quick.
Yeah.
BB has a question. Have Arm or Sarah spoken yet about the thought that the damages were left blank on purpose by the jury and that they would change the damages based on who showed up? I think that the part they left blank was her punitive damages because they said she got nothing. So I thought maybe they didn't think they'd have to write an amount in. That was my theory, but
Nick writes, he's trying to sing a soul song. He's not a singer, but a vocalist. He can stay in a tight range and talk, sing. Exact. Well put, Nick. Perfectly said. It's better than King Norris. That's great, Roos. That's a great way to end.
Correct.
King Norris wishes they were that. So thank you, everyone. I will see you tomorrow night at Radio Gunk 9:05 Eastern Standard Time. I love you all. Sarah, you want me to say that? What?
No, I want to say thank you, Lauren Marie, for the $5, and for great. Sarah, for Arm. This is Sarah. I'm trying to remember. Saying no time is a good time for goodbye.
Good night, everyone. Love you.